off and switched up the vibe in me. Like how I manifest within, how I choose to defend. Who I label my friends, how I make amends. Cause I'm choosing laughter, it's peace that I'm after. I abracadabra, then poof, chakras blast off. My soul take this cast off, projection surpass all. Obsidian protection in case this trip lasts long. I see with 3 eyes, that's why my crown headstrong. Corona is viral to spirits living dead wrong vibration.
I just wanna chill around positive vibes. Nothing negative, it will fuck up my vibe. Sit back and chill and just sip wine. I came from a dark place, now I'm living in light. Came from a dark place, yeah, now I'm moving with the light. Yeah, now I'm out here making moves. Yeah, I be always on the flights. Yeah, I be on a mission for the bank nowadays. Why these niggas hating on a nigga nowadays? I've been on a mission with the light nowadays. I ain't fucking with the darkness nowadays.
Manifested by elements ethereal. I knew of terrestrial material. Intertwined celestial of imperial. Infiltrating corporation of oppressive serial. Resilience is something like a miracle. Observing kinfolk and draconian material. The more equipped for ascension, the more one seems to be treated as inferior. Dr. Umar said, the white man's heaven here, the Asian man heaven here, the Arabic man heaven here. But the black man heaven fit. The black man heaven fit, cause it lies in death. Release from the karma debt. Release from all the stress. Release what we don't confess. In order to live, I guess we must be bodiless. Makes me wonder, if we made out of greatness most fit for this plane, then why we the most hated? Why we the most hated? Was I in court waiting for my sentence? Listening to a witness accuse me of unfitness to remain in these cosmic dimensions? Is that why we repent and we ask for forgiveness? The hours and days, they feel repetitious. Oppressive energy soaking up my minutes. Purple haze blowing smoke on my grimace. Another nobody traveling out of limits. Exiled from cosmos as penance. Or maybe this time it's just the intermission. Like Jesus chapters that went missing. Traveling and gaining knowledge between the dimensions. Christ consciousness bringing me ascension. Kundalini flows up, now is where my intentions. So don't cry for me when my time is risen. Sing some praises, cause you know that I made it. And know you're all my extensions. Yes, you're all my extensions. Peace, y'all. Welcome to the Planetary Forecast. Hold on, let me make sure I sound okay. This week's Planetary Forecast, we are going over where the planets are going to be with us from March 13th to March 22nd, which is the new moon. I mean, not the new moon, the new year. Our sun is celebrating its new year in the tropical chart, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about it reaching its new year on the Vedic chart and all the different things that Les Nobodies has in store, because we are definitely in alignment with the Aries season of new beginnings. Hold on. Y'all already know I be doing my marketing early, late. Hey, if anybody's interested in being my my producer, reach out. I need one. This is a lot of work, which is why we are evolving into new spaces, because this is a lot of work. Always moving in gratitude with the evolution, though, Ashe. So, let's talk about the planets. So for you guys that don't know, I do this weekly planetary forecast. I talk about the way the planets are and what kind of energy that creates for us, because every living being has an electromagnetic energy. We are all infinite beings. So every physical body has electromagnetic bodies, energetic bodies, spiritual, emotional, psychological, however way you want to claim and name it. So people call it spiritual and souls. Here at Les Nobodies, we get into the celestial physical bodies as far as the stars and the planets and the dwarf planets and the asteroids and etc. etc. And we talk about the electromagnetic energy those give off. Also, oh, peace, welcome. I I keep forgetting I pinned that one comment there, so kind of like, but yeah, so that physical body has its own electromagnetic bodies, being an infinite being, and what we do here is we talk about the portals, the triangles, the conjunctions, the sextiles, and all that stuff that all these electromagnetic bodies are lined up to create when you came through the womb, which creates your natal chart. I personally do natal chart readings for the tropical, which is your mind, how you think things are supposed to be. Your Vedic chart, which is your heart, how you feel things are supposed to be. Your nakshatras, which is behaviors and events in your life. And your draconic chart, which gets into your soul. Who is your soul? Some alignments with your past life. If you get the draconic chart in alignment with the tropical and the Vedic chart, you'll get information on the past life and how it led to who you think and who you feel you are now. It tells a whole story about yourself. We can also talk about this story when we get into your numerology readings as well, as the sounds that we have are also infinite. They travel infinitely. They have infinite bodies attracted to them and frequencies, etc., etc. It's a fun thing. I love science. Science is fun. Getting into the chakras, same type of energy as the electromagnetic vibe. Chakras actually means wheel or circle of life. It's connected to your main energy center. These are the alignments of deities, orishas, and the Kabbalah. They have like the circles or the spheres of life in the Neteru. But basically everything that's out here is also on the inside. Everything you're experiencing on the outside of you is like what we signed up for, to like help us gain some type of insight on what's going inside and what to do for the inside of us. Isn't that fun and kind of sick? It's like a really long way to go about healing yourself. Like, hey, I'm going to sign this contract for about like the people in my family live to about like 90 something, 100. I'm going to sign this contract for 100 years to experience all these experiences, lose my memory while I'm experiencing these experiences. And then that's going to help me fix what I got going on inside, instead of you just sitting to the side and fixing what you got going on outside. But anyway, that's why Earth is the way it is. And that's why I'm here, to assist you guys in getting some of your memory back. Here on this slide is basically just depiction showing you the planet alignments to the Neterus, to the sphere of life, to your actual body parts. And just to let you know, all your chakras have chakras. And you can go up to like 12 chakras. You can even go into the 13. You can go into the 8. It's octave. It's really about whatever pattern you're in alignment with in your life. And a lot of that comes from like your own life path number. And when you get into numerology, you get into your pinnacles and your challenges and how many phases and stages you have in your life. And that gives you an idea of what pattern you might want to get into when it comes to your chakras. However, overall on this plane, we all have been given the 7 basic chakras, 7 being the celestial government number. So this is how we align ourselves to become in alignment with that celestial government. Now, if you want to be in alignment with all 10 spheres, I suggest you get in connection with the 9 chakras, because there's no number greater than 9. And then you automatically get to the 10 of the universe and so on and so forth. You get where I'm going with this. Anyway. So in addition to your chakras have chakras, your chakras also have a masculine and feminine side of each chakra. That's how infinite you are. So this slide gets into the masculine and feminine side of each chakra, some basic concepts of each chakra, and the different elements
that are in alignment with each zodiac energy that's in alignment with each chakra. And that's fun. So you have, giving you an example, your third eye chakra has Cancer on the feminine side, which we know is water. So it's water on the feminine side of your third eye chakra, and then fire on the masculine side of your third eye chakra. And coming to terms to that and learning how to balance that is important. And then you get into what planets you have sitting in that water, what planets do you have sitting in that fire, and that lets you know what kind of experiences you're going to have with aligning, balancing, and learning and expanding and all that stuff in that masculine and feminine side of your third eye chakra. When we get into the throat chakra, the masculine side of your throat chakra is earth. The feminine side of your throat chakra is air. So masculine is earth. That's being able to speak things into materials. That's the experience we usually have, right? When I speak something, so it be. The feminine side, which is the Gemini side is air. So it's like usually when I'm speaking inside my head, my thoughts are drifting in the wind, communicating with spirits, subconscious, telepathy, all that is air vibes, right? With your community, the energy around you. When you get into the heart chakra, the masculine side of my heart chakra is Taurian energy. No, I'm sorry. It's Libra. It's Oba energy. I'm reading it. I'm looking at it backwards. But yes, the feminine side is Libra energy. So my experience is like your heart make you feel lighthearted, and kind of when you go with your heart, you kind of feel light. You're floating, you're, going from this place to that place. We like to say, oh, my love is unconditional. No, the fuck it's not. And that's okay. That's the feminine energy of your heart chakra being an air energy. It fluctuates. It goes up and down. If the love is being fed, the love will return. If the love is not being fed, the love will not return. Like that's just basic, like equal. That's physics. It's physics. I know we like to think in our minds like, yeah, I love conditionally, and there's no or you like to shame people because they are in tune with the fact that their love is conditional. And when you talk about love in terms of energy, the way physics works, yeah, there's equal opposite energy for every energy. So if you're dragging someone and you're not giving them love, that's what you're going to receive in return. That's just. Now on the feminine side of the heart chakra, you have an earth energy, which is Taurian energy. And that earth energy is like, it's very stubborn, right? Whatever you feel on the inside, your feelings kind of like are your guide here. It's like, it's just a matter of, are you allowing it? Because your heart could really make things happen if you let it be. And all that depends on the planetary placements you have within that earth energy. Do you have a lot of air energy that feels trapped by this earth energy and kind of impatient about your feelings? Do you have the water energy that kind of like is a little bit complementary to the earth energy, but sometimes it has to smooth down the rough edges of it? It's all about what you got going on. And then so on and so forth with the other chakras. For the feminine side of your solar plexus chakra, you have water energy. That's the Scorpio vibe. So your solar plexus chakra, your power and your confidence and being courageous comes from you being able to adapt, you being able to transform and transmute. And there's a sense of confidence that comes with that, right? And then on the feminine side of that energy, you have a fire energy. So your internal solar plexus, it likes to be the center. That's that ego. We use the word ego in a negative term, but fire likes to be the center of attention. You walk into the room and you see a fireplace or you see candles or whatever, that really sets the tone for that room. And that's what fire likes to do. It likes to set the ambiance. It gives heat. But when it's out of control, it can burn everything out. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, right? That's that fire in the feminine side of the solar plexus chakra. And then we talk about men getting into their toxic feminine energy, but they can really burn shit down with it if you let them. They have to learn how to direct that feminine energy so that they can do those things. When you get into the sacral chakra, the feminine side of the sacral chakra is fire. When you feel joy, you feel that fire burn and that expansion. And when you learn how you like something, like you're learning, like, oh, I like this. I'm about to explore this more, or I don't like this. This is where it stops. And then, you have that masculine side of your sacral chakra being water. I have a lot of jokes about that. But sexually speaking, because the sacral chakra deals with, sensual sexual activity, it being in alignment with water being in your experience, that makes sense because our reproductive organs, they excrete different liquids that intertwine with each other in that space and place. When you deal with a lot of your senses, like your eyes are covered in water, your mouth is covered in water, your nose is covered in mucus, your fingers are covered in oil. A lot of our, the way our senses are used, there is like a liquid barrier there. So it being in water is cool. Also, that adaptability energy, that energy to transmute, because water is also a transmuter. You put water to air, it's going to do something. You put water to fire, it's going to do something. You put water on a stone, it's going to smooth out the stone. So water is also a transmutation device. So, that's where a lot of that, it's all about perception comes into, because if you convince yourself that you feel joy about something, then you'll feel joy about something. That's the power of that water being in your masculine, being an experience side of your sacral chakra. Then you have the root chakra, the masculine side of your root chakra, your experiences, they're all going to be materialized. There's a show I've been waiting for an opportunity to talk about this because I've been binge watching Unprisoned. I binge watched that last night. I don't know if you guys ever seen Crooklyn, but the dad from Crooklyn is the dad in this show. And his daughter is Kerry Washington, and she's like in her early 30s, and she has a teenager, so we can only assume she was a teen mom. And she grew up in foster care and being raised by her dad's girlfriend, and she has a lot of childhood trauma. And I just was up giggling and crying and doing a whole bunch of stuff while I was watching this show. It was so good because they show her inner child on the outside of her. They actually have a character who's a child, and she's speaking up sometimes in certain scenes. And then she has scenes where she looks at her father's experiences, who of course was born in like the 50s, 60s. And so he, in Alabama at that. So closing that gap on slavery and segregation was so long ago. It was not that long ago. So there was some episodes where she got to see his inner child in their old family home and how he used to hide under the bed when the cops would come because they would beat his mother in the street, and how his dad was a preacher, and how his inner child felt when Martin Luther King Jr. got shot in the street. Like, oh my God, this is such an amazing show. It's funny, it's lighthearted, but just to see them walking around with their like inner child walking next to them, telling them what to do, trying to drive the car for them and stuff like that. I just love that. And that really shows you the masculine side, the earth energy that you find in your masculine side of your root chakra. Because your root chakra is solidified. I wanted to talk about this earlier today because I had a download, but I just couldn't find the time. I really wanted to get to this planetary forecast. But, the way like Instagram psychologists like to set things up, they make everything seem like it comes from childhood trauma, a traumatic experience. Everything is happening because something bad happened to you. You're carrying it, and it's all about perception. Let's go back to the water in your sacral chakra. Your senses experience these experiences. How are you internalizing them? Are you being adaptable? Are you changing your perception on things? Or is it always just like, whoa, it's me, this is traumatic, and I'm internalizing it as a traumatic experience instead of internalizing it as a lesson or as an experience I had to have certain knowledge or to have certain like mental muscle or emotional muscle or physical muscle. You get what I'm saying? So you have to let yourself have those conversations with yourself, especially when it comes to your childhood. Coming back to that show, she had this part where she had to tell her inner child, you know, you summoned me, right? I'm the adult you asked for. You're safe now. Go play in the playground. You don't have to stick around anymore. You can go be a kid for a little bit. And the little girl hugged her and skipped away. And sometimes with certain experiences, that's what you got to do. You keep letting that inner child be your set of glasses for all your experiences all your life, you're in for a world of hurt. Why? Because in a child's mind, everybody's taller than them, everything's bigger than them. All the experiences they're experiencing, they don't really have much inhibition with their emotional self. So there's nothing really too much. It's kind of like, I dropped my candy on the floor, the world is ending. And I'm speaking from experience because I have a son whose Venus is in Aries and everything is, the world is falling apart. Okay. So, you know, the dog eats his sandwich. He's done with this day. He hates this planet. He wishes he was never born. This is the way the mind of a child works. So you figure a child is experiencing these experiences where it's like, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Don't tell nobody our business. Even though some things are going on, you need to vent and release about, but you're being taught to suppress your throat chakra. You can't tell people how you feel because it's being talking back or telling people your house business or being disrespectful or whatever. Or say you do tell the truth and it puts an adult in a crazy position. So now they're calling you a liar. So you're dealing with those perceptions through the glasses of a child, not the glasses of the adult you're now, the glasses of the child you were then. So you have to go back and have those conversations with that child you wish the adults around you would have had, explaining to you, like, this is why this happened, and this is how adults do things, and this is why because you have to change that perception. If you keep walking around like, oh, these big guys did all this mean stuff to me and everything is going to keep feeling bigger than you. Anxiety is always going to be on 1,000 because every person, place, thing, and situation is always going to feel bigger than you. And it's not. Everything's going to feel like the end of the world or detrimental or just like larger than life. And it doesn't have to be that. You have to have that conversation with your inner child. Take back the reins in a loving way. No more talking to yourself mean if that's what you're already doing. Stuff like that. And so, you know, that's coming back. Woo, rewind. That's coming back to the fact that Capricorn is in your root chakra. You can heal your inner child. You can heal all your roots. However, your roots are still your roots. You know, when you cut a tree and you look at the rings of the tree, you can see everything that tree went throughout its life. Everything that went on in that forest is told on that tree. Did that tree heal? Yeah, it healed. It kept growing. It still went through the seasons the way it was supposed to, all that. That doesn't take away from the story. That doesn't mean that suddenly that ring on that tree is going to completely go back to the way it was. No, it's going to grow another ring that's going to tell another chapter of the story, and so forth and so on. So yeah, you can heal your childhood traumas as learning how to compartmentalize, learning how to transmute your perceptions of things, how you absorb certain people, places, and things, and how you apply them to different things that's going on in your life now. You could do that. But to think that healing your childhood trauma means that you're going to walk around and pretend like nothing ever happened to you ever before, and you have to completely change who you are as a person, no. That's doing those experiences injustice. Those experiences happen to you to mold you to what like you need to be today. So if you're trying to unlearn and unravel all that stuff, you're unraveling all the work and all the everything that experience was supposed to give you. So now you have to go through another traumatic experience to redo all that work. Good job. You know, like it or not, the universe is going to put you where you need to be. You have to have a story sometimes. I had a mind. I didn't really want to talk about like the Blueface Krishan situation. It's really being force fed to me in my algorithms. But I will say this. Unfortunately, there are young people right now laying next to someone who treats them or brings that energy out in them that they see on these screens with these two people. And maybe seeing what these two people are going through and how they're treating each other, how they're treating themselves, is providing some level of expansion or transformation to those individuals watching. It's unfortunate that you have to watch these two people bring out the worst in each other. I could only imagine what their one of them has to have a Venus in fire while the other one has one in air, because ain't no way. And but they bring out a lot of violent energy out of each other. They trigger each other's insecurities a lot. There's some spaces in their chart that are very much aligned, but it's aligned in the space of trauma bonding more so than it's aligned in a place that's more so constructive. You know what I'm saying? So you seeing these two elements really be combustible around each other at any moment. And you see the energy that they give off when they're in other people's spaces. Other people feel that heat. Like, bro, this chemical equation could blow up at any minute. Let me stand over here. And that's the energy that they're giving off when they walk into a room. So it's powerful energy there. It's definitely in alignment in the solar plexus chakra with them two together. At the same token, it's a weird alignment there in the root chakra because of both of their personal traumas that they're coming out of, and then they're going into with each other and creating a foundation. Because all the things you create have root chakras. Every relationship you build with someone has a root chakra. I have a root chakra with each of my children. I have my own root chakra with my oldest son, my own root chakra with my youngest son. I have a root chakra with this person over here, this person. Everybody has a root chakra with everybody everywhere, and it doesn't solely depend on, but it is definitely majorly affected by where my root chakra is already at as an individual and where your root chakra is already at as an individual. That's why we talk about independent relationships instead of codependency. Because if we're in codependency, I don't have to have a root chakra. I can be all over the place. And you don't got to have a root chakra. You can be all over the place. Now, how are we going to create a root chakra together with like this, though? It's going to be difficult. We're just making shit up. So that's where like that comes from. And then getting into like the feminine side of your root chakra is in that air energy. So that's where that space comes from as far as the ability to travel, because Libra, Aquarius, Gemini energy is like a traveling energy as well. I can kind of like what is it? Astral project, teleport. It's like a teleportation. And that's why you're able to say, oh, I got to go back to my foundation. I got to go back to the cornerstone, or I got to go back to history. You're able to go back. You're able to look back. You're able to, re-record, tap back into the Akashic records. You're able to go back into your lineage and look at your family history, your racial history, your tribal history. That'll always be there for you because the feminine side of your root chakra is in air. And then there's an Aquarius air at that. And Aquarian energy is about knowing. Okay. So that root chakra energy will always be there for you to be able to walk into. But to think that you can just like completely erase, no. And that's what that Capricorn and your masculine is there. But then, you know what? I love the fact that Capricorn is in the masculine side of your root chakra as well, because you get into the mindset and the energy of a goat. A goat never stops. If a goat is trying to go up a mountain, it's going to get up that mountain by any means necessary. Nothing is allowed to get in that goat's way. And it's a known fact. And that's why the goat is the goat. And so that's what, that energy of the root chakra is too, is because it's like, despite what's happening in your algorithms or whatever, you're still on a mission. You're still going to go. You're still going to make things happen. There's no negotiation about that. So, that is me getting into the masculine and feminine side of your chakras. And let's move on. Also here we do astrocartography, where we get into the different places that the planet, like, okay, say you were born, the planets around you were like an ascending, descending, midheaven. They were on all these different positions when you were born. So, you know, when you get into astrocartography, you get into like where the planets were at where you were born in relation to where you were born at, and what kind of experiences you would have in those different areas on the planet as we know it, because of the electromagnetic energy that was going on above that area in relationship to your natal chart. So it's pretty interesting. I of course I do it on myself and my children. Those are my guinea pigs, myself and the people I live with. So very interesting. Also learning how to do synastry charts with your natal chart and the natal chart of the city or state or county or whatever that you live in is also a nice way to get more intimate into the area that you plan on living in or working in, or say if you want to build a business, get into the natal chart of your business and the natal chart of the area you're trying to open the business in, and it'll give you an idea of the kind of how it's going to happen. And there, of course, this is the heliocentric model of how the sun and the planets move. And, you know, everything moves like in a forward, like for me, like in physics, the way the sun is constantly moving at a forward trajectory until something comes into a space to knock it off, which hasn't happened yet. And there's another model. And then here, I like this model because this model gets into like if the sun is in Pisces, moving its way into Aries. Actually, the sun just entered Pisces constellation, and we'll get into that momentarily. But if the sun is in Pisces, then the Earth is in like Leo, Cancer, Leo. And it's making its way to Virgo as the sun makes its way to Aries. All right. And that's where we're at on the Vedic chart. Now on the tropical chart, the sun is, well, we're pretty much making its way to Aries towards Taurus. So on the tropical chart, the Earth is more so in Scorpius. Yeah, Scorpius going towards Libra. So transformation and balance and order with the new beginnings. And then also, you know, your third eye chakra in alignment with the subconscious. I like that. The cosmos always cosmoing. And here's the horoscopes to other cultures. So we start off with family. Family started off last week. About 9 days ago, a little over a week ago. So this is the West African horoscopes that I found. I found them online. I won't lie to you. And then I did a couple different checks of websites to cross-reference or whatever, because I did have someone that is from a country in Africa say, hey, I never heard of this. And I'm like, neither have I. So can you teach me something? Is it something somebody made up? And they just didn't have knowledge of it. So if you guys have any, you know, anything y'all want to expound on with this, I'm more than open to it. But I did find a few different like PDFs and websites that did like solidify this information. But this horoscope is family. This goes on to April 4th. So this is about being human oriented, family oriented, of course, helping those around you and feeling support from those around you, keeping those home and family spaces, empathy, harmony, always being the safe haven, wanting to create safe havens for other people, maybe on the forefront. I know I've been like, I don't really like live verbatim. Like when I was younger, I used to be like super duper into horoscopes to where like I would try to live my life through the horoscope. And so because of that, even though I do a planetary forecast, I try not to do that. Like I don't want to be so caught up in the planets that like I'm trying to live through them, because the goal is to rise above them. You gain awareness of what's going on, like, oh, that's why, and you rise above it, not you succumb to it. That's not what you want to do. So, where was I going with this? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the zodiac energy for this time around. And the wolf. The wolf is for Native American animism, and that is from February 19th to March 20th. This is the Frog Clan, which is the water element. And I like that the wolf is around Pisces season because, you know, Pisces season is all about the double fish. And the double fish can go one of two ways. You can either be manipulated or you could be the inspiration. You know, you could be the manipulator. I know there's like a bad negative connotation or emotional invocation attached to the word manipulator. I don't really have one, but like, you know, the ability to walk in a room and change that atmosphere and get people to do what you want them to do. You know, you could be that fish, or you could be the fish always being told what to do and being, you know, gullible and stuff like that. This is also the season of deception. So a lot of Decepticons coming to the forefront. I was about to say a joke, but for those who hear my joke, y'all already know, especially if y'all tapped into the Sons of Sea podcast episode. And then you have, you know, all this stuff going on in space. Like, I don't know. I knew about Project Bluebeam like 12 years ago. How long ago was 2008? When was 2008? 2007, 2008? That was like, no, actually it was before that. It was, my son was born in 06. Yeah, 2008. I knew about Project Bluebeam in like 2008. And they really like convincing y'all that it's, you know, aliens in the sky and stuff like that. But that was some stuff they had written like years ago. But, you know, that's not what this podcast is about. This is about talking about where the planets are at. But yeah, coming back to, I like the fact that, you know, we have the wolf during the season because it's like, why be a fish when you could be a wolf, you know? The wolf is very intelligent, very good at adapting, can smell things a mile away because they're very sensitive, not just to like sensual things, but also to like energetic things. You know, hey, my dog's not a wolf, but my dog jumping up and barking to some shit, he can feel shit way before I can. He's definitely the guard dog. He like, somebody coming, something in here. And he can do that way before I can. So, you know, that's that energy of the wolf. Like, you smell the bullshit, you smell the deception, the intuition is on a being, like, you're good. So, you know, this season I was like, oh, I like that. You know, I want to be the energy of the wolf during the season of these fishes and all the deception that's going on and stuff like that. I want to, you know, wolves also are healing omens and have healing power, and they tap into that. So it's like, not only am I being, you know, awesome on my own survival of self, but I'm also developing that pact of unity and harmony to provide that healing energy to others. So like tapping into that energy this season was a divine alignment. Like I said, I try not to get caught up into the horoscopes, even though I do the planetary forecast every day. I try not to get caught up. I usually like rewatch these Jones in hindsight, like after I done lived out my week, and be like, oh, that's why that happened, or this is da-da-da, and that's cool. And then in the Chinese zodiac energy, we have the rabbit. And this started on January 22nd, and it'll be going on till February 9th, 2024. Of course, you know, the Chinese zodiacs go through the whole year instead of going through season by season, because they go by, so you have two different like axes that the earth is on. And so the way the Chinese zodiac goes by, they go by the axes that's created by the earth poles, which is why their zodiacs last for a whole year, because that cycle is way wider than the cycle of the axes by the ecliptic, which is what we utilize as the ecliptic here in Western zodiac. And you guys can catch out we did a whole episode on that on Virgo Virgin Talk, talking about the different axes that the earth is on. I believe that's when we got into flat earth versus round earth. We got into the axes of earth, and then the celestial maps. We also got into that, and the eclipticals, and it was a great time. That, you know, Virgo Virgin Talk, we had an amazing season. So let's get into the root chakra, the nooks and crannies of the things. I won't get into all the notes at the top. But they are there, you know, feel free to tap into them. And as far as the root chakra goes, the overall energy we have is Saturn, which is Babalue. And this energy, which is like the energy of discipline and order and infrastructure and authority, which is only rightfully so, it goes into your root chakra. And that also explains why, you know, a lot of your quote unquote childhood trauma, I don't like to call it childhood trauma. I want to call it childhood challenges, because that's what it was. It was childhood challenges. And in response to you experiencing these challenges, you created a discipline and order and boundaries for yourself. Once you were in a good space to be that authoritative figure in your life, you really were enforcing these things. Now, were they healthy responses? That's up to you on your personal to decide. And that's why we have the air energy in our feminine side of our soul, on the feminine side of our root chakra, that's giving us the opportunity to go back and say, I don't like that boundary I put there, or this no longer serves me, or da-da-da-da. I done had some new challenges in my life, and it's calling me to find some transformation in these spaces. So I don't think I'm gonna go for the childhood traumas anymore. It's more so childhood challenges. How have you overcome your childhood challenges? I like that. We're gonna stick with that. So if you're having in that Pisces energy, we are in the space of you tapping into your subconscious, allowing your subconscious to tell you whether or not certain boundaries and disciplines and stuff like that were in alignment with, you know, the trajectory we're going in. And it's in the 7th house. So a lot of this is to do with the bonds and the relationships that you're creating with other people. I know, you know, we spent the last couple of years, you know, healing, coming into a space. A lot of us came into, you know, the desires of going off grid, tapping into your sovereignty. Like, a head is a head, a toe is a toe. Everybody found their place. So now that we've all found our place, it's time for us to, you know, cleanse our electromagnetic energy, which usually comes from the root, and, you know, try to attract the bonds that we wish to attract, right? And so, you know, I guess, like, you know, tribal building and stuff like that, you know, everybody is not going to be 100% in alignment with where you're at mentally, emotionally, and stuff like that. And that's okay. Even though we have generalized ideas that we are in alignment, our personalities might not mesh. Our way of doing things may not mesh, and that's okay, because we're in a space of providing the new energy to our root chakra to give off that brand new electromagnetic energy. I talked about this last week, like, you know, we don't have to keep behaving like we're in those old trauma bonds or challenge bonds that we were in. You know, that energy that we had to exuberate back then will no longer serve us now in the bonds that we're trying to create. That Aquarian energy going over the 7th house, revolutionary energy, the energy that you had before is not going to serve you when you find your tribe. You can't treat them the same way you were treating the people that hurt you. That goes in terms of communication, response, how you react, problem solving, all this. Oh, I'm just going to cut you off, or I'm going to say something funny, or this, that, and the third. It's like, it's no space for that no more, man. And coming back to that show, because that was okay, this show was amazing, but they had an episode where, like, she started dating this really nice guy, and he was spiritually inclined, he was very aware of himself, I come to find out she doesn't really like nice men. She likes mean men, but she's still trying to figure that out. And he had said something to her. He was like, I understand that you're aware of your energy. I understand that you know where your traumas are and stuff like that, but you need to get it together, because anybody who's as aware as you are not going to put up with your mess. And that's valid. They're not going to put up with your mess, and they shouldn't have to, because you should have enough mindset to know that these are not the people, places, things, and experiences and ideas that traumatize me. I don't have to do those things anymore. And that's really what that Saturn and the subconscious and the 7th house is bringing you to an energy to. And a lot of experiences, if you're still walking around with that same attitude, with that same dialect and jargon and candor and all that you had amongst the people that hurt you around a group of healers, you're going to keep being met with challenges. that are going to keep pushing you to change that, you know, because even in the Vedic chart, we have Saturn sitting in Aquarius, which is revolutionary energy. So, you know, you're going to keep being met with challenges that say, hey, you know, that discipline and that order, it's not serving you anymore. Fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it. You know, last year we were all about the 6th house of your everyday routines. This year, we're aligning that with your relationships. It's time for y'all to find y'all tribe. Y'all got your routine in order. Now it's time to find a tribe that, oh shit, you do the same thing too. You homeschool too. You da too. You want to grow your own food too. You moving into sovereignty too. Oh, I want to buy land too. Like, I want to go to the same area you want to go to. A lot of those kind of conversations are going to come on this year. But if your root chakra is not in alignment, all you're going to do is push those conversations away because you don't know no better. You're still looking at things through trauma eyes instead of that healed, oh, this is a challenge or exercise eyes. And then we have Pluto, of course, creating that transformation energy in that space as well. So that's your root chakra. Coming into your sacral chakra, we have Obatala sitting there and giving you that energy of new beginnings. You know, Obatala is the energy of like generosity, your wisdom, expanding, especially to like higher education realms, like, you know, colleges and like self-studies and self-mastery and stuff like that. All of that is in alignment with that Sagittarian Obatala energy. And it's all very exciting, which is why, like, you know, that fire energy can also be a space of impatience too, if you allow it to be so. And you allow it to bring you into a space where it's just like, I need to have it now. I need to go to it now, especially now in winter. If you felt privy to that in the winter time, you probably were greeted with certain responses. Like, I got a reading last night on Tarot Tuesday reminding me, like, give yourself some grace. You're good. Slow down. Like, okay, I needed that. But, you know, a lot of Jupiter, like my Jupiter, personally speaking, is in Leo. So my Leo is aligning with this fire Aries, and my fire is just bigger. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to tour. I'm ready to do all these things, which is another reason why the reading I received last night on Tarot Tuesday was amazing. And allowing this space to bring you transformation, like you aligning with people of foreign cultures, you expanding your knowledge, you traveling, all that's supposed to bring transformation to your subconscious, which is beautiful because the subconscious is going right back to the root chakra, right? Because we have Saturn in our subconscious. So as you're going through these new beginnings, you know, Aries is also a warrior energy. So if you're not being obedient to that Aries energy, you're going to get burnt and it's going to hurt. So you can either go up with your hands in the air laughing and giggling, or you could go out with your arms in the air like this and get your fingers and your wrist broke. It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to go down the slide. But either way, you're going to go down the slide. Okay? So, you know, that's bringing you back to the space, you know, these experiences and things that you're having is, you know, calling you back to your root chakra, like, oh, we got to do something different down here because I just realized I like this, or I like that, or I kind of like these kind of people. I've been raised all along to not like these kind of people and kind of be distant from them and have this kind of knowledge of them. But now that I've been in their space and I've decided and you know, now I have more knowledge and less, you know, entitlement or whatever, this, that, and the third, maybe, you know, this, that, and the third, you know, I try not to get too much into like touchy subjects, but definitely like cultural shadow work has definitely been on the forefront of my mind this past week. Cultural shadow work is definitely in order. I know race is a man-made concept. It was actually solidified about a year prior to the establishment of the United States of America. This corporation was actually established in alignment with the science behind the 5 basic races, which were established by studying skulls. And so the validity of racial separation, am I denying it? No. I think that we're beautiful parts to one body. I am an advocate for diversity. I am not a melting pot. I like salads and I stand on that. However, with that being said, I love to learn about other people's cultures, not in the mindset of appropriation. You never see me up here appropriating anybody else's culture. I always speak from the outside, explaining on the other side, like I just learned this shit, but this ain't what I do on my daily life. And, I always try to be mindful of that because I never want to come off like I'm appropriating other people's cultures, especially cultures that I know nothing about, that I have not studied, this, that, and the third. And I think that as we learn to do our cultural shadow work, we must learn how to move in that movement, because as within, so is without. So like, an example that I like to give is, say like, my kidney and my liver. My kidney's looking over there like, yo, the liver is having the best of times. I'm trying to go chill over there. Now, if my kidney cells decide to go over to my liver cells, my body is going to die, because my body is not a melting pot. My body is a salad. I have working pieces that come together to build a whole. All those working pieces are essential and must learn to coexist with one another, but they are not to integrate. And that's how I feel like human behavior should be. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to, put that upon anybody, but that's the energy I feel with Obatala and expansion and learning about other people, places, and things without integrating myself into those purple pieces, people, pleasing things, but learning how the machine works, learning all the pieces to the machine, learning all the tools, and how they all come together and make this beautiful one piece. That's where my mindset is. Maybe the universe got some Aries 8th house experiences for me. Maybe a month from now, I might not even think this way anymore. We're going to see. Because, maybe a year or so I didn't think this way because I didn't do Virgo Virgin Talk 12 Tribes of Judah episode yet, So, again, y'all check into that second season of Virgo Virgin Talk. That was an amazing season. A lot of transformational energy going, but allow your knowledge to provide expansion for you. In the feminine side of our sensual chakra, we have our subconscious sitting there. We have our experiences sitting there with the sun. The sun is our experiences, our interaction with masculine energy, which is outer self, extroverted self, physical things around us is sitting in the subconscious energy. So for those of you that are like, damn, I can't help it, but I keep finding like a spiritual or deeper meaning in everything I watch and everything I touch and everything that's going on around me, that's because the sun is in that Piscean energy right now. And it just entered, and we'll get into that in a moment, but it just entered the Pisces constellation as well. So you have that doubled up energy in your subconscious and your experiences as far as your heart self and your mindful self. Then you have Mercury. So your patterns are going to be like in that subconscious energy as far as how you notice those patterns, how you make sense of those patterns, your decision making skills, your communication, whether you're communicating to yourself or communicating to other people. Also Saturn is in that energy as well. All right, guys. Saturn giving you that energy of like the challenges. A lot of challenges coming from your subconscious energy. And we talked about that when we talked about the root chakra. That's calling you to make that level of discipline and order and infrastructure and stuff like that. And then the part of fortune, your pinnacles, your generosity, like, oh, you made it through these challenges. You noticed patterns, you paid attention to different things that the subconscious was trying to communicate to you. You communicated back, all that. Here's your pinnacles. As far as our experiences go, because all that is going on in the inside, you got a whole bunch of subconscious things going on the inside, being aware, a bunch of conversations, stuff like that, which is a major reason why I started the spiritual support group too, so that you have a safe space to make sense of all these placements. For those of you guys that are on Instagram, my video is about to end. I will not be renewing the Instagram video. Slide over to YouTube. And then like on the outer side of yourself, you have your inner child energy with the 5th house and your moon, which is your intuitive space, both of those sitting in your sacral chakra, allowing you to feel that joy. So again, that's coming back to what I said earlier about you tapping into your inner child and having those conversations and allowing them to use a different pair of glasses for what they went through, because that would help them find more joy in their childhood as well. Like when people ask you like, well, what did you go through as a child? And all you have to say is all this gloom and doom stuff. Let that moon in that 5th house come together and give you like a better eyesight on things you went through, because you're still carrying that gloom and doom energy with you, around you and stuff like that. Getting into the solar plexus chakra, this is your power, self-expression, and we have it sitting and communicating with your community, just like your neighbors, your siblings, your parents, immediate cousins, not the distant ones. But we're really talking about communication. We're really talking about community. Gemini also deals with other forms of communication, whether we're talking about like your technology, writing, books, all that kind of energy is sitting in that Gemini energy as well. Also, knowledge, having a quick dexterity of the mind, being able to adapt to different mind frames and thought process and all that stuff is very essential to the solar plexus, because you have a knowledge about certain things. It makes you confident, does it not? When you're sitting in a room full of people and they want to start talking about stars, I get confident. I might not speak up. I'm working on that, but I feel confident because I'm like, oh, I know what's going on here. I know what we're talking about. I don't feel lost. If I go in a room full of people and y'all want to talk about sports, I'm lost and I'm going to go sit in the corner and be quiet because I don't know what y'all talking about. As much as I like sport, I don't get into the professional aspect of it. So that's not a conversation for me to get into. That's the energy of Gemini over your solar plexus chakra. When you're in spaces of the no, you feel confident, and it's bringing you to spaces of success, that 10th house energy. Now, as far as your Vedic chart goes, you have, Ogun sitting in that Taurian energy of priorities, your self-value, your self-esteem. How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel good about yourself? Are you sad about yourself? And then during this week, we also enter Gemini constellation. So at some point, you'll have Mars sitting in the Gemini zodiac and constellation simultaneously. So your mind and your heart will be in alignment with wanting to know things, wanting to know multiple things. Just be mindful with being unfocused and being fickle and having short attention spans. And also be intentional with what you know. Are you learning things to prove something to other people? Or are you learning things to expand yourself? Are you learning things to be in competition with someone else or something else? Or are you learning things to expand yourself? Check your intentions behind you learning. Check your intentions behind you speaking. Are you speaking to respond or are you speaking to share knowledge? Different things like that. That's where this energy is leading you towards. Definitely having more, not consideration, but more paying attention more to how you communicate, your tone, your word choice, because that quick tongue Gemini can speak too quickly, speak too fast, and you want to be mindful of that. So you can go one or two ways here. You could be overstimulated, and we're in a space where we're speaking things into existence, okay? We're speaking things into solid formation. We'll get into the throat chakra in a minute. But we're speaking things into manifestation. We're very much aware of our energy now and what our energy has the power to do. We're aware, a lot of us are sitting on certain platforms, on certain thrones on our platforms where we have people looking up to us for knowledge and stuff like that. So you want to be very, very careful with speaking too soon and speaking too much. Speaking too soon and speaking too much, and also allowing certain communications to invoke you, to take you off that path or knock you off your solar plexus, because that's what's going to happen. There is going to be some communication or some expression that's going to come towards you, and I've seen it already. It's a couple of different people that I follow online on YouTube that do tarot readings and stuff like that, and I watched them take a whole 20-30 minutes off of the reading video to address some disrespect, and it's just why'd you do that? You took away from your solar plexus. You took away from your power, your throne, to give it, and you basically gave your power away to this person because now they have the energy. Now everybody's paying attention to them and replying to their comments. Nobody's watching to see if they're going to comment again. Now it's just a bunch of dialogue surrounding this individual. You took some out of your solar plexus chakra. You let yourself get knocked off, and that's what happens when you got an air and a fire solar plexus, right? That air feeds the fire and makes it bigger. And what that fire gonna do is gonna go everywhere. And fire doesn't like to be contained anywhere. Who want this? Okay, so you have to have that ability to say, okay, this is what happened to the planets. I need to rise above. I see what the challenges are here. Let me rise above. Let me be in alignment with the lessons here before I learn them the hard way. And now I'm sitting here for 45 minutes arguing with somebody on the internet instead of pulling my tarot cards. Stuff like that. On the feminine side of your solar plexus chakra, we have Chiron You know, over here, these are the elements that are going to assist you in getting your self-esteem up, your courage, and your confidence up. Turning your wounds into a superpower with that Chiron energy is definitely going to do that for you. And it's also sitting on the Vedic chart in your Pisces, so you could tap into your heartfelt stuff, to tap into your subconscious, to really have a conversation about these wounds. What's going on? Why? How are we going to allow these wounds to create transformation? Because this is sitting in the 8th house of transformation and power and rebirth. So we're not having conversations with these wounds to keep carrying them around as wounds. But did I tell y'all, we're not calling them childhood traumas no more. They're childhood challenges. Let that be the first element to this Chiron. So now we're not looking at childhood traumas. What were some of the childhood challenges I had? What are some of the preteen challenges, the teenager challenges, the young adult challenges, the adult challenges? What are some of the challenges I had yesterday that traumatized me that I need to heal from today? Because healing is an ongoing thing. You know, trauma is an ongoing thing. It happens, you know, it's happened consistently as you go throughout your journey on this plane. So tapping into that Chiron and learning how to rise above that is definitely, you know, tapping into your divine feminine energy. We see, you know, men and women alike tapping into your divine feminine energy and learning how to utilize it, how to channel it, how to, you know, some of us are going, you know how you get your superpower and you're just shooting it everywhere and it's overabundance and it's imbalance because it's too much. Well, some people are doing that with their divine feminine energy, and that's okay. Let us as healers that may have that divine feminine energy already at a certain level of balance, we need to come in and be able to say these things like, hey, let's get in alignment, this, that, and third, without it be taken as hate. Or, you know, gatekeeper is not a bad thing. You're supposed to be gatekeepers to certain people, places, things, and situations and stuff like that to create that balance and order. Because like I said, everything has a root chakra. So for certain, you know, areas and spaces of life to be able to call yourself a certain title, you have to be in alignment with a certain level of root chakra that comes with that title. Coming back to the divine feminine energy, you know, just having a balance in that. The Chiron, an imbalance in the Chiron is that that negative energy that says, you know, I went through all this in my life, so now it's fuck everybody, or I'm separating myself from everybody, or now I'm argumentative, or now it's like I'm not dealing with none of y'all. You got people that instead of learning how to communicate with people, they'll separate themselves. Or instead of learning problem resolution, it's just, oh, I'm not your friend no more, or, oh, I don't want to be a part of this. Why? When we could just communicate. Why? When we can problem solve. If you can't problem solve in relationships, you're going to have a hard time dealing with longevity of relationships, because everything on this plane is like the heart lines. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down. And that includes your relationships. If you want to come back to, you know, healing that 7th house and that root chakra, yeah, you're definitely going to have to tap into this Chiron energy here. Okay. Chiron is actually sitting here. It has been sitting in here since September 2018. Then of course it goes retrograde, and then it comes back in 2019. In February 2019, it came back in Aries, and Chiron will be in Aries until October 19th, 2026. So we have a long time. You have a lot of space and time to tap into this inner child energy. Well, it's not always inner child. It's just traumatic, challenging energy that you just dealt with through life, and turning those challenges into a superpower. I learned this from that. I gained this from that, and et cetera, et cetera. And then Aries, that divine feminine, rebellious activist energy, has been sitting in Aries since 1925. And we know 1925 and the 1920s, that's when they started like suffrage. Women wanted to vote, and, you know, women clothing transpiring. Then you had the birth of hip hop, and, you know, women, you know, taking certain leads in that realm of hip hop and allowing that to flourish in other walks of life, from politics to business ownership to college graduates to healing to, you know, equal pay rates, and anything you can do, I can do. And the hashtag Me Too movement and sexual positivity. It's all these divine feminine movements happening. And they're going to keep happening and unfolding. And yes, some of them are imbalanced. Some of them are overstimulated happenings. And some of them are understimulated happenings. And some of them are perfectly balanced. You know, utilize your discernment with whatever divine feminine energy, activist, rebellious energy you want to walk into. It is your world. Jupiter also bringing that generosity and wisdom in alignment with this. Pentacles, once you get that lesson that you need to have, it's kind of like that grandpop that tells you an Aesop fable, and because you sat through that Aesop fable, they're gonna give you, you know, a gold coin, dollar, or something like that. Vesta, which is your passion. What are you passionate about? And Venus, which is, you know, your priorities, your self-esteem, what makes you feel good, what do you like to do? All this energy is sitting over here in the energy of new beginnings. And then in your Vedic chart, they're all sitting in Piscean energy. They're all sitting in the subconscious energy. So you're going to get a lot of these answers from tapping into your subconscious, tapping into like meditation and journaling. I tell people to get into like free writing journaling and all that stuff. Then when you get into the masculine side of your solar plexus chakra, how are you going to be experiencing this energy? You'll be experiencing this energy in your home and family. So a lot of you guys dealt with a lot of your traumatic challenges or your child challenges in home and family. Your home and family is also going to benefit from you coming into this space. It's not always a matter of, oh, my spouse and my children. It could be your parents and your siblings. It could be, you know, your grandparents and your cousins. It could be just you living in the house by yourself, and now you've transmuted the energy that you live with. You know what I mean? But it's your fourth house, and creating balance in that fourth house is what's going to benefit from you doing putting all those ingredients together in your solar plexus chakra. And then your ascendant energy, your temperament. This is the energy you give off when you walk into a room. You know, it's going to show, hey, my solar plexus chakra is balanced. I am on top of my childhood challenges. I have transmuted them. I have the knowledge and the wisdom. My self-esteem is on point, and I'm in alignment with my passions. Also with expanding my knowledge with that ninth house. You know, all that stuff is going to be coming off of you, off of your energy. You know, people are going to be able to feel that when you walk in a room, definitely. And we get into the heart chakra, which is Oshun energy, experiencing Aries new beginnings. Also, Venus enters Taurus energy. We'll get into that in a moment as well. But yeah, expanding yourself with knowledge, definitely, and allowing that to bring new beginnings into your space, new beginnings in how you feel about certain things, your emotional stuff. A lot of that will come back to you, coming back to those childhood challenges, you know. And even in the Vedic chart, we have Venus sitting in that new beginnings energy of Aries. And the feminine side, you know, all the ingredients to put together, we have Uranus, which is your progressive energy, pushing you to do things different, make the change in things. You know, Uranus has been in Taurus since like 2019, and we know in 2019 is when they started doing like the cryptocurrency like in abundance. You know, we have like over 100 different cryptocurrencies. Certain countries are adopting cryptocurrency as their like country, you know, currency. You know, we have like this big progressive change in the pentacles, how we treat the pentacles, how we view them, also how we view ourselves, how we make pentacles. A lot of people progressively, you know, work from home is a big thing. I remember I've been trying to work from home for like years now, and now it's a common thing that is easy to find. Once upon a time it wasn't. You know, that's a progressive change in the pentacles. A progressive change in how you feel about oneself is happening. You know, it depends. Like I said, you could be overstimulated or understimulated. My overstimulated people that are really getting sucked into the social media influencing energy, you know, and, you know, watching all these videos of, oh, you need to have 5 LLCs and you need to trade Forex and have binary coins, whatever fuck that is, and you need to have like NFTs every month, and you have to have 3 YouTube page and an Instagram page for every LLC you got, and you need to be sovereign and know the laws verbatim, and you need to homeschool all 6 of your kids all by yourself because, you know, you just gotta do it by yourself. And a lot of that is changing how people feel about themselves. It could be in a constructive way, like, "Ooh, I need to do a little bit more. There's more to aspire to." Or it can be in an overstimulated way where you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you never have any time to get things done, and there's gloom and doom and this, that, and that. And that's why I talk to a lot of these leaders, especially those that are out here teaching people how to do things like sovereignty or living off grid and stuff like that, because they play on that. A lot of these companies, these organizations are playing on that overstimulation happening in your in your heart chakra, and saying, "Oh, if you don't get this, when the end of the world comes, you're gonna be dead. Like, you're gonna be hungry. Your family's not gonna be able to protect itself. Get it now. Get it a week from now. Get it tomorrow, because this is happening in the news now. So next week a bomb is coming." Like, all that stuff is fear mongering, is what I call it. And it's emotional invocation to get you to invest in their product within their time limits. But it has nothing to do with how the stars are aligning for you to get what you need to get done. You are on your own timing. Don't allow yourself to be overstimulated by those kind of imageries and sounds and stuff like that, because it's just marketing. That's literally all it is marketing. No energy is created or destroyed. So even if you're not here physically in the humanoid form, you're going to be here in some type of way, shape, or form to get your work done. So don't even worry about it. Uranus is going to be in Taurus until April 26, 2026. So we have some more progressive change. And also that's, take a breath, y'all. Yeah, I got till 2026 to get it right. You got time, because, right after Uranus exits, Taurian energy, we go into that Gemini energy, and we know that airspace is very fast. Like, you blink and it's like, what the fuck? and honestly, that's kind of how fast Uranus was in Taurus. Like, you blinked and we were in quarantine, and we were changing the way we food shopped, and we were changing how we interacted with each other, and it was just like within a 2-day time, just a blink of an eye. And because Uranus is also in that Aries energy on the Vedic chart in your emotional self too. So that's where a lot of that, damn, where did time go, kind of come from too. A lot of new beginnings in your emotions coming, from that progressive vibe. Peace. The true node also being in another ingredient over here. The true node is all about like the destiny, the pathway you're supposed to be moving towards. And we're moving towards being the celestial workers, being the designers and the workers over here on the Heru sign of our heart chakra. Okay. So for those of you guys, I find it's funny, okay, being transparent about my reality. It's like when I put out things on the internet, I notice other people do the same thing. And I be wondering, like, did we have the same thoughts at the same time? Or is this a result of you seeing my post? But like, one of the things that I have going on is I'm starting my own education program where I will be, really teaching y'all how to do what I do. And then y'all can put your own flavor on it. By the time you graduate from my program, you are going to have a book that you can publish. You are going to have a functional YouTube page, because your homework will be a lot of like posting and stuff like that. So not only am I helping building you up in the knowledge realm, I'm helping building you up in the business realm at the same time by allowing your homework to be content. You're going to create content for your homework to show me that you understand and you can articulate what I'm teaching you. That's what I do for my sons. I'm teaching you all this stuff. Now you got to articulate it back to me. Write me a book. Write me a chapter. Write me an essay. Make me a video. Make me a reel that summarizes what you just learned. Like, I do stuff like that. So, that's how I'll be doing it with you guys. So when you leave, you got a certificate, you got a business. We can set you up with the business in a box situation and just keep moving and moving and moving upon that. And it just seems like a lot of individuals in the healing space are moving more towards we love healing, but now it's time to start teaching people how to heal. It's like you go from being the student to being the teacher of students, and now you need to be the teacher of teachers. So now we're going into a space of being a teacher of students. And eventually we will go into a space of being a teacher of teachers. Okay. So that's really what, that space is bringing you towards. The 10th house being the space of achievement and success, and how you project yourself into your community, how your community sees you, your role in your society. And that's experiencing new beginnings right now too, because in your Vedic chart it's in Aries. So you kind of want to switch up, maybe like, oh, I want to was a 9 to 5, but now like I really want to be like a pillar in my community. Or like, you know, once upon a time all I wanted this, but now I can have that, or etc, etc. Juno is also in this space, and Juno is like your bonds. What you need in a relationship to keep you carrying that relationship, that partnership, whatever it is that you got, whatever ship it is that you on, what needs to keep happening on that ship for you to be loyal and remain in that. And so you're getting more information on that. What do I need? And you know, that helps you with a lot of the priorities and the list of things to do and stuff like that, because there's a lot of stuff on our to-do list we don't really want to fucking do, but we've taught ourselves, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to be, this is how I need to get things done. And that's why Venus is sitting in that energy of Aries as well, giving us the new beginnings, because we have to change how we feel about these spaces. Because as you get into your Juno, you're asking yourself, I've been wondering why it's so difficult for me to go to work every day. I've been wondering why it's so difficult for me to do this job, but it's so easy for me to do that hobby. You know, it's been so difficult for me to maintain this relationship, and I'm trying so hard. And it's because there are certain elements that you're just missing, and it's not keeping you there. And that's okay. That's where this Uranus energy is going to come into play. Venus is in Aries, helping you bring that new beginnings, and it's all going to be coming into you, tapping into your knowledge and expanding yourself. Now, what are you going to feel in your experiences? Because you done mixed all these ingredients up in your internal self, so your experiences are going to come out in your nurturing nature. How are you capable of nurturing? How are you capable of being nurtured? Remember, I'm coming back, talk to y'all, like I see a lot of people starting to develop like more subscription services. And, you know, now we're going to create our own mystery schools, you know, come to us for higher education instead of keep going to these people that's charging you $5,000, $10,000 a year and putting y'all in debt and keeping y'all in an employment cycle. Come to a space where we're putting you in an entrepreneurship cycle and not looking at each other like competition, but completion. There's 7 billion people in the world. I do not want to heal all 7 billion. I only need 100. I only need a loyal 100 people, and I don't even need that much. That's a lot. I have like a good 10, 15 loyal people in my space, and I still feel overwhelmed. So, you know, being mindful of that kind of energy. How are you nurturing? How are you being nurtured? What is your motherly energy like? How do you wish to be mothered? Coming back into the energy of your inner child. How are you speaking back to the inner child? How are you summoned? And the third house is also in your experiences here in this space. And the third house is all about your communication, right? It's how you communicate with other people, like that intermediate traveling experience, which is very, very exciting. It also deals with like your habits, how you interact with other people in your immediate space, your close relationships. So this is where you're going to experience that nurturing and nurture energy in your community with the friends, family, and neighbors. It's going to become a habit to be nurturing and want to nurture with others. And remember, we're working with the celestial worker energy at this point. So this is for my healers. Now, if you are a student, you are a student working towards being a healer. Now, if you are a healer, you're in your space working towards being a teacher. And if you've been a teacher, now it's time for you to be a teacher to teachers, so you can stop having to teach. All right. So, you know, it's levels. You go from like student teacher to actual teacher to the principal to now you're on the board of education. You know, you got to allow yourself to have that growth so other people can have their growth as well. Your throat chakra This is your communication space, how you express yourself, how you make decisions, your integrity, your ethical sense, and all that stuff. And we have it sitting in your subconscious, allowing your subconscious to be thy guide. That's been my response to a lot of people this week. Allow thy subconscious to be thy guide, because that's where it's at right now in the space. And you got to allow it to bring transformation and empowerment and rebirth and death to some things. I know we don't like the word death, but it's essential. And as you know, we go out throughout this week, our Mercury is going to end up in Aries energy before next week. So, you know, our communication, our decision making mind, as you know, you keep allowing, you know, spirit to guide you and be your answer and provide you with answers and stuff like that, you're going to come into your new beginnings. Your temperament is going to change tremendously, even in your Vedic chart, as you go from that revolutionary energy of Aquarius into the subconscious energy. So even though, you know, you move out of the mental subconscious energy, you're moving into the emotional subconscious of energy. So that's pretty exciting. Now, as far as the feminine side, you know, all the ingredients you're mixing together, you have Mars, which is your motivation. You have that fire that's pushing you, like, hey, you got to tap into your subconscious for this one. You got to have that conversation on the inside for this one. It's time to speak life and rebirth into this, or death to that. And it's just a matter of, are you listening? Are you going to allow yourself to have that? Do you feel like you deserve that? Are you listening? Now, on the Vedic chart, we also have Mars sitting in Taurus energy. So your motivation is coming from your emotional self as well. And we'll be going into Gemini later on this week. Yeah. So we're moving from Taurus into the Gemini constellation later on this week, which is pretty exciting as well. So then we'll have an alignment of your mind motivation and your heart motivation with both of Gemini energy. You're really going to want to start doing things for your community. And that makes sense, because as the weather starts breaking and starts getting nicer outside, it's only righteous that you want to start coordinating healing events for your community. The open mics start happening, the festivals start happening, all these different things. And then the 11th house is also sitting here, which is giving life to like your purpose of your work, your humanitarian pursuits. I had came to a download, a question I wanted to ask y'all earlier last week, where I was like, are you utilizing your gifts for the American dream or your ancestral purpose? And that's an 11th house situation over here in your throat chakra, because like I said, the throat chakra has to do with integrity, morals, and your ethical self. Have that conversation with yourself. What am I doing this for? You know, and be mindful of what's indoctrination. I know Ben Carson, that was a book cover that crossed my eyes. You know, a brother of mine is reading, woke doesn't mean broke. And it doesn't. It does not mean broke. However, what is your definition of brokenness? Is it the indoctrination that you have received from the American dream? You have to come to terms with those realities of certain things, so you can stop playing games and stop straddling upon fences. Last year, when we were in a lot of the 6th house energy, that was what a lot of my downloads were coming from. A lot of us have a bad habit of straddling worlds, saying, oh, I could do both. I can have the best of both worlds, but you can't serve two gods. That's going against, you know, the rules or the laws of the universe. No two things can occupy the same No two things can occupy the same place at the same time. So you can't have two different energies in the same place at the same time upon you. It's either one or the other. You know, and that's the law of physics. That's science. Okay. So, you know, you're kidding yourself, because there's going to be times where you're going to be going against your ethical code and stuff like that to remain in alignment with that American dream. You're going to go against that ancestral purpose to align with that American dream. Why? Because my rent is due. So I know that I'm not supposed to be doing this kind of energy. I'm not supposed to be taking pictures and videos. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. I know I'm not supposed to be here in these spaces, but I need to pay this bill because I like to have this apartment, because the American dream told me that, you know, to be a functional adult, a woman, a mother, a father, you know, whatever, I need to have this and I need to have that and I need to pay for this with this and that and that and that. You know, make sure your alignments are in alignment. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust and faith that come with that, let me tell you. But we are in the year of the 7. This is the year that you're supposed to be getting that root chakra, right? So you can build with that tribe. You said you wanted to live off grid. You said you wanted to live with a tribe. You said you wanted to homeschool with like-minded people. You said all those things, but you're still holding on to the American dream while you're saying those things. I mean, you got to pick a side. What are you working towards? Are you working towards being more in alignment with nature? Or do you want to use your gifts to give you abundance and the American dream? It's really that cutthroat simple. But, you know, we like to create gray areas to keep coddling our behaviors. Just be mindful of that. You know, tensions is everything. On the Virgo side, as far as your experiences over here, you know, when you mix all those ingredients up on the other side and have those conversations and stuff like that, you have the second house here. How you feel about yourself, your priorities are a big one is being affected by this space. Your work ethic, your job, where are you working at? That's the second house energy, is your job, right? And it's sitting in Leo, so it's in that energy of leadership and just being that king of the jungle. Also, Leo energy is also tapping into your heart, your emotions, your inner child, all that energy, letting your inner child be that light, be that guide in that space. Also, you know, your self-esteem, your physical environment, your income, all that stuff is your second house experiences from you having those feminine conversations within self. Also your midheaven. So again, a lot of trust, a lot of faith, but also know that the stars are in alignment for you to have what you're supposed to have. The midheaven is there. You know, the coins are there. The success is there. The achievements are there. Just be grounded in what it is that you're trying to manifest, because trying to be in both worlds at the same time, like I said, you can't occupy two spaces at the same time, and two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. And then we get into the third eye chakra. This is in alignment with the sun, of course, is Heru, and the moon is all set. This is interchangeable because actually the sun is actually the feminine and the moon is the masculine. For the sake of conversation at this moment, because we deal a lot with the tropical, we're going to talk about what your mind has been programmed on, the sun being masculine and the moon being feminine. As I undergo different transformations with this energy right here, you know, I'll be able to exhibit it more in the planetary forecast. I am in transformation with it now as I'm able to even address it. But yeah, getting into Heru is sitting in that subconscious energy, bringing transformation. And then we know the sun enters Aries, and we'll get into that in a moment. Also, don't forget that the sun on the Vedic chart is still in Aquarian energy. So on your heartfelt stuff, you're still feeling that revolutionary energy, wanting to be innovative, do things, go about things in a new, different way. Social spaces, you know, being innovative in your social spaces, being detached a little bit from different things that you know, and moving into attachment with other things. And then just letting you know that we will be entering Pisces energy in the Vedic chart, and I'll get into that as well. The all set, we started this week in Sagittarian energy, you know, expanding our mindset, philosophy, a desire to expand yourself in a vlog or read a book or whatever. But the moon was in Scorpio, so whatever knowledge you're expanding yourself to, allowing it to create transformation in that fourth house of your home and family. You know, teaching it to your children, wanting to expand more with the people that you live with, your partner, yourself, you know, your family. On the feminine side of your third eye chakra, all the ingredients that need to come together, you have Pallas sitting here. Pallas is like your genius qualities that you overlook about yourself. You don't really pay those too much mind about yourself. But these genius qualities that you have within yourself, these are strategies and stuff that you need to tap into, so you know what to do, you know, in certain people, places, and things. But you've been taught to suppress them, so it's a matter of healing and expression and stuff like that. And then we also have the 12th house over here, which is like your dreams, your secrets, your emotions, your psychic downloads, you know, afterlife, before lives, your limited beliefs, hidden agendas, healing, closure, spirituality, all those things like that. And it's a matter of coming into terms with that Pallas energy. That Pallas energy, you know, It's sitting inside of that Cancer crab. But you know, Cancer energy is also extremely intuitive. Like, it's so fucking smart. So once you like have this, open the box and have this aha moment, it'll help you like tap into other parts of your being. Really, you know, just let this energy trickle down, for real, for real. It's usually when you go back to your childhood challenges, there was some things that you were good at doing, and you'll be like, mommy, look at this, or daddy, look at that. And then, you know, or grandma, grandpa, whoever, or your teacher, whoever, and they might have giggled, or they might have told you, oh, that wasn't realistic, or oh, you're so silly. And to that adult in your life, that authority figure in your life, you know, that Capricorn in your life, they might not have thought too much about what they said. They went on about their day, but that shit stayed with you. And now you're walking around living life like, that's not realistic. This is silly. This is just funny. This is just something to laugh at. That's not real. And it's really shaping how you go about your life and how you treat your skills and your abilities to get certain things done and to deliver certain information and to give delivery to certain creations that need to be created here. Because we're literally here to create, whether we're creating other humans, other art, other discoveries, other knowledge. We're literally here to create and express. That's what we came here to do, express. And so, you know, there's some suppression in your expression space. And if you go back to those different challenging experiences in your life, you can come to terms with those different things, those, you know, different dreams, you know, before lives, maybe something that happened in a prior life. I highly suggest getting tapped into your draconic chart, you know, getting tapped into a prior life and finding out like what was suppressing me back then that put me in a space to where I think I need to a space where I think my Lilith is here now. Because when you get into the experiences of your third eye, you have Lilith. So what's going to happen is you're going to come into different challenges where you're meeting someone and they're triggering you. They're like, you know, making you feel like, yo, why are you acting like this? Why are you doing all of that? And you realize the energy about them that's triggering you is energy about yourself that you've been suppressing. That palace energy. You know, Lilith is also your primordial energy. Is who you were when you first came through here. Before you went to, you know, mom, dad, grandmom, or teacher and said, hey, look at my picture, or hey, look at my dream or my goal, and they laughed. That's who your Lilith is. All right. And when you see other people that didn't get that, and their Lilith is just out here just being primordial, their primordial selves, and they ain't paying you no mind and stuff, it could be triggered because it's like, damn, I was raised to not be like that. I was raised to be modest. I was raised to cover myself up. I was raised to not use that kind of vocabulary. I was raised to okay. And what's it doing for you? Nothing besides being bothered when I sit in my freedom. So maybe those some things that you need to fix on you, and it's having an effect on your temperament, how you carry yourself when you walk into a space, you know, your impression on other people. So that's what I have for you for the third eye. We know the crown chakra is when you exit the physical body and now you're up into the cosmos. This is located at the crown of your head. This is the consciousness, the thoughts, the awareness. This is your overall electromagnetic field because you were able to get the 6 chakras in order. And this is the energy that everybody feels, and it's in alignment with the whole universe. And so now we can get into what the planets are doing this week. So y'all know I love Metu Netter, so I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about what Metu Netter is doing. And then we also have we also will be switching up our Native American zodiac energy on the 21st as well. So I wanted to get into that with you too. But let's do the Metu Netter. Oh. can't find the page. I can find the page any other time. I'm not gonna find the page right now. I should know the pages by heart now. That's a part of the problem. All right. So what we see on this visual right now is the comet ZTF 2022, and it was going along the Readiness River, which is supposed to be like in alignment with like the Nile River and the Mississippi River being like the river of life and knowledge and spirituality. This is the river that you travel to make it to the primordial constellations as well as the water constellations. Um, yeah, this is like that main road, that connector joint, and it's making its way to the Witch Head Nebula, which is cool because, all right, a comet, for those of you guys who don't know, a comet contains all of the celestial material from like all the way back to like the beginning of our solar system, like the creation of our galaxy. It has all of that celestial body material in it. So like catching the comet is kind of like seeing that knowledge go across the sky, like the Akashic records to our galaxy go across our sky. So the fact that it's going up the river is like giving us like the knowledge is in the water. The knowledge is in these waters of life. I found that like pretty beautiful because of what's going on with our water down here on Earth. It's being polluted tremendously, So, there is work being done here to pollute our waters, if not the waters, outside of us and the rivers and lakes and stuff like that. It's the waters in our bodies with what you're eating and drinking and consuming and what you're choosing to say to yourself. You guys ever did the experiment when you were talking to a cup of water and you were saying nice things versus when you were saying bad things? Like, you're literally a cup of water. So if you're walking around life listening to like violent type of music and music that's calling you a certain kind of name, and then you and your friends call each other a certain kind of names, and you're looking in the mirror at yourself, calling yourself a certain kind of way, like all that stuff is affecting your waters. So allow this comet to like bring you back to your Akashic records, to realign you, because it's going from the waters to the head. So it's kind of like moving up a spine, going, like Kundalini vibes, definitely, like going up your spine, up to the head, up to your cranium, your pineal gland, your thought process, your mind process, which goes out into your electromagnetic field or your crown chakra, however way you want to look at it. But your thoughts do the rest. And so let this comet with all this ancestral knowledge make its way up your spine to your mindset during meditation space, because as above, so is below. Allow it to provide its cleansing, its ancestral knowledge, the challenge perceptions to have, all those things, because it's definitely needed for what we have ahead of us. Coming into, this is the moon pattern from March 13th to the 16th. We started the week off with us sitting in the Scorpius constellation. We had our conjunctions with Aries and Deshuba and Graphias. We made our way to the Sagittarius constellation with an Aries. What's the name of that star? Cospiralis. Then that's where we went to with the Sagittarius constellation, creating our conjunction. So we created new patterns or closed up old patterns, because that's what conjunctions do. They either open up new patterns or close new patterns. So just how you have like the phases of the moon, you also have phases of the planets. And actually, as we enter this new moon phase, a lot of these planets will be in new moon phase too. And we're about to get into that. So we started the week off March 13th. A 69% waning gibbous moon. That is the moon of cleansing, but at that period of time, we're cleansing like material things. The moon rose at 12:38 a.m. and set at 10:19 a.m. That was our Scorpio moon, our Scorpius moon, and it was in the 4th house. So that transformation and stuff was going towards the home and family, and we had transformational energy in the in the fourth house, but in a Vedic chart, we had Libra energy over the fourth house. So in our mind, we're creating transformation in our home and family, but in our hearts, we're creating balance in our home and family. And then we had the AM visibility of Mars on Monday. That was the best visibility in the evening. And then, like I told y'all, we had the moon in Graphius at minimal angle and the moon in Dashuba. And both of those stars were giving off the energy of Mars and Saturn. So they were giving off like creating new beginnings in your space, but they're creating the new beginnings with that energy of challenges. And if you don't have that perception yet, you're looking at it like traumas and trials and why is this happening to me? But it's really challenges to get you to do new things into your intuitive space, take on new thoughts. So yeah, here's another diagram of the moon in the Scorpius constellation and how it would look from like where we are down here. Then you have Tuesday. We started the day off with a 60% winding gibbous moon. We were still in that moon of cleansing. Still in that, well, actually we moved from Scorpius zodiac to now Sagittarius Scorpio zodiac. So now we're in that zodiac of expansion, traveling, higher education, just moving forward, but be mindful of moving too fast with your intuition and those downloads being like back to back with that impatient energy. Still going towards the fourth house, creating transformation in the home and family or balance in the home and family. And then at this point, the moon and Aries are now in alignment. So that was the energy of Mars and Jupiter, bringing the new beginnings. Now, instead of with challenges that bring discipline and order, now we're bringing it with knowledge and wisdom that brings generosity. So we've softened the lesson. It's not as like harsh. Also, the last quarter moon was at 10:09. So we go into the last quarter moon. This is the moon of transition. So now we're in a space where like we cleansed all of our physical things. So now we're transiting to cleansing all of the non-tangible things like thought process, spiritual stuff, energy, experiences, perceptions, and stuff like that. So, you know, going from tangible to the intangible. Neptune also entered Pisces constellation yesterday at 12 p.m. It was at 0 degrees, 0 minutes. So we have, you know, that constellation that goes over your heart, how you feel. So you have that subconscious energy sitting in that energy of duality, knowing when it's being impressionable or when it's impressing others. Be mindful of the false prophets out here, because this energy, when it went through the Pisces constellation, it gave birth to some false prophets that would be out here utilizing the subconscious knowledge, subconscious jargon, and candor for the American dream, for deception, for capitalism, to keep separation going on, for fear mongering, for all those, for ridiculing and shaming, for demonizing. You know, there's a lot of energy that goes towards demonizing Aboriginal spiritual culture. We're very aware of this. That is going to start infiltrate in the spiritual community as well. Us being the teachers and the warriors of the spiritual community, we have to have knowledge of this. And instead of allowing people to say, oh, well, the conscious community is this, the woke community is that, we have to protect our community. We have to, you know, call those energies out. There's a sense of solidarity that has to be there. And every time we create something, we wash our hands and say, oh, I don't want to deal with it no more. We're leaving out all these open-ended projects. We did that with rock and roll. Now look, nobody even knows the history or foundation of rock and roll. We did that with jazz music. Now the foundation and history of jazz music, barely known. We did that with like hoodoo and voodoo. And we made that like something that a lot of people demonize. And now we don't want anything to do with it because like certain, and I'm not saying this applies to everybody, but like, you know, certain people have entered this walk, and now it's like, oh, everybody is invited to the barbecue. I'm giving this information out to everybody. Everybody wins, blah, 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 blah. And now, you know, the people that are actually supposed to be gatekeeping that cultural practice is like, oh, I'm washing my hands of it because now the mainstream image of it is wrong. The mainstream image of spirituality and culture will always be secular and shallow. That's just what they do. Every time the mainstream culture enters any spiritual culture, any religious culture, any type of cult whatsoever, they're going to shallow it the fuck out. They're going to make it lawless. They're going to make it seem like anybody can join. And if anybody can join, that makes it lawless. That means that there's no discipline or order that needs to be had. You can't call yourself a vegan if you eat beef on Mondays and say, well, I eat beef on Mondays and I'm allowed to eat beef because that's what I want to do. That doesn't mean I'm not vegan. Yes, it does. But because we have people that saying, oh, I'm going to exit this culture now because like it's too overwhelming. Like you haven't totally aligned yourself. You're not grounded yet. You're not willing to, you know, put yourself in a space where now you can be a teacher of students and then move yourself up to teacher of teachers. You know what I mean? You got to get yourself to that space and just know, like, you know, just like when you're a teacher in front of the classroom, it's always going to be one or two students that challenge you. But if you're confident, let's go back to that solar plexus energy, that Gemini energy. If you have that intellect, you're confident, right? Your solar plexus is fine. So, you know, you got to check yourself on what is it about my energy? What is it that I'm still dealing with that makes me feel like I have the right to cower away from my ancestral purpose when adversity is coming my way? I have a right to create something and not finish what I created because, you know, other people have opinions on it. Like, is your creation, is your mindset behind your creation that weak? It shouldn't be. All right. But that Neptune and Pisces energy, you know, that gave life to a lot of false prophets. It's going to be a lot of people infiltrating the spiritual community to market their products and services. You can talk about mainstream companies. You might see a Nike commercial using spiritualism and crystals on their fucking sneakers. You might see, you know, the Gap using herbal knowledge or astrology knowledge to justify the colors on their next sweater. Like, you're going to start seeing these things. And they're going to try to condition it and water down the community when doing that. You are not to get disheartened and be like, oh, well, I'm done now. No, that's weak shit. You keep, like, you know, our people, you call yourself an Orisha, you call yourself Oya. Everybody's quick to call themselves Oya, but they don't want to do the energy of Oya. They don't want to be the gatekeeper. They don't want to tell somebody, no, you don't qualify because you didn't take this class. You didn't take this right to, we used to have rites of passages before someone could claim themselves something or call themselves a certain Orisha or animal or deity or whatever. We used to have that, and we stopped doing that because we allowed mainstream energy to come into our cultures, come into our cults, and water them down and say anybody and everybody can do this. And if you say anything outside of that, it's hate, it's division, it's separation. It's all these emotional invocation words that make you feel guilt and shame. But if you're aware of invoking words, if you're aware of power, if you're aware of magic and the who your ops are, that shouldn't deter you. That should not be so effective to make you say, oh, I wash my hands of this and I no longer want to stand on my square. I'll let y'all do whatever y'all want. That's giving up. That's giving in. That means that you're about to come back to earth. And you're going to have to do the same shit over again because you won't stand on your post. You're being fickle on your post. And that's where the Gemini energy and your solar plexus will do to y'all too. It'll make you fickle. It'll make you weak. It'll make you spread out. It'll make you second guess and overthink. That's if you're overstimulated or understimulated. Now, are you balanced? That's the question you got to come to. When you're balanced, can't nobody shake you. Also, yesterday, Mars went into the Gemini constellation around 7 p.m. So come back to Gemini energy. And then it entered the 11th house of you tapping into your subconscious and your humanitarian pursuits. As far as today, March 15th, we started the day off with a 49% last quarter moon. That's that moon of transitions. Moon rising at 2:59 a.m. and instead of 11:51 a.m., we are in the 5th house. So now we're in the house of attention and dramatics and your inner child. That's probably why the inner child dialogue came out. And I was binge watching that show last night. I finished the show. It was amazing. But it's in the Sagittarius zodiac energy. So expanding your knowledge and your mindset and stuff on that 5th house energy of attention and dramatics and love and your childhood energy. So today, talk to your inner child, expand your knowledge, because not only are we in the Sagittarius zodiac energy, but this 5th house is being ruled by Sagittarian energy on the tropical and the Vedic. So knowledge is on the forefront of this 5th house. They want you to know that inner child. Know what it's going to do. Know how it's going to behave. The sun rose this morning at 7:11 a.m. and it will be setting at 7:06 p.m. The moon is at maximum southern declination, so you'll start to see the moon look closer and closer. The peak of the Normid meteor shower is also today for all my star watchers. That meteor shower was from February 25th it started, and it'll be going on until March 28th. But today is like the max peak activity or whatever, and that's coming from the Norma constellation. The sun is entering Pisces constellation today at 6:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So on the Vedic chart, we enter the Pisces constellation today. Very exciting. You know, you feel in that subconscious energy. Tap into your downloads today. And it's cool because today is a Wednesday. So today is the day of communication and expression and stuff like that. So communicate with your subconscious. Have those conversations, you know, tap in and all that fun stuff. It's a great time. This is, you know, the musical planets. Like I said, you know, yesterday we had Neptune enter in Pisces constellation. We had Mars entering the Gemini constellation. Then today we have the sun entering. So those 3 planetary placements we have moving into the next energy. So yeah, musical planets is being played here, and we're going to get into a little bit more because, you know, we started the month off with Venus and Jupiter being BFFs. They were close to each other. And they're slowly moving further and further apart from each other as the month goes on. Venus is moving more towards Uranus, which will be in conjunction with by the end of next week. And then Jupiter is moving in alignment. We're creating a new pattern with Mercury, being in conjunction with Mercury. It's creating a new pattern. And then we also have some portals opening up this week, some straight line portals that I'm pretty excited about. So coming back into Tuesday, we have the last quarter moon over here about the Sagittarius constellation. Then we have the moon in Cos Borealis, you know, hanging out. We know that's in the Sagittarius constellation as well. That is located at the back head of the Archer. So it's the mindset of the Archer that's happening, the hunter, right? Being precise, having knowledge, precision, okay? And then the conjunction of the Neptune and the sun is happening tomorrow. So tomorrow we start off the day with a 37% waning crescent moon. The moon will be rising at 4:02 a.m. and will be setting at 12:57 p.m. We are in the Capricorn zodiac energy. So that intuitive spirit is coming back down. So our root chakra vibes, giving us that energy of manifesting, materializing challenges, the childhood challenges, and what experiences you experience from that, because we're still dealing with the 5th house energy, which is in Sagittarius of knowledge. So, you know, between today and tomorrow, really tapping into that childhood self, from the internal childhood self, you know, the sensual, you know, joyous energy. What do you like? What makes you happy? To tomorrow getting into like the boundaries and the foundation and, you know, the infrastructure of that inner child. All right. So today you might want to have a little fun. Tomorrow you might want to make some rules. The sun rising at 7:09 a.m. and will be setting at 7:07 p.m. The moon in Cos Borealis will be at minimal angle at 7:28 p.m. The moon will be 2.6 degrees south. Conjunction will occur at 7:23 p.m. The moon will be 2.6 degrees south, and we'll be able to observe that at 4:18 a.m. with a 6.7 degree east-southeast separation. And I told y'all that the Cos Borealis star is located at the back of the head of the Archer. This gives off the energy of Jupiter and Mars. So it's still like getting your wisdom and your generosity in a way that gives you new beginnings, that warrior-like energy. Also being like one of those intelligent, what do you call it? Like when you're one of those, I always think of a Marine uniform, but when you're one of those soldiers and you just have all this intellect and all these buttons on you and all the ribbons and all that stuff, is that energy, being a valiant warrior. It's intelligent. Remember, it's all about precision. When you're an archer, you gotta know how to put your arms, you gotta know how to aim, you gotta know how to breathe, you know how to exhale and let go, and you gotta do all. It's a whole process to have, and it's a lot of intelligence and awareness of your energy from a physical to a mental to an emotional level to be able to be a good archer, to be a good hunter. And that's the kind of relationship that it's time to have with your inner child. In order to have the precision with aiming that childhood energy, that them childhood challenges, that childhood strength and intellect and creativity, all that stuff, you came into the world with everything you needed, down to the placenta you was connected to. You literally came into this plane with everything you needed. And the moment that you came into this plane, it started getting ripped away from you. your immune system got ripped away from you, your ability to communicate, your source of health, your source of your Akashic records, all this stuff got taken away from you the moment you came through the womb. And now you're working on getting it all back one by one, one by one, one by one. You want it back. Be intentional. I want it back like the mind of an archer. I want it back with precision. I want it back with this wolf-like awareness. Come back into the, the Native American, zodiac energy. I want to come back into that energy with the wolf energy. Not only am I aware of who I was on an emotional level, on a behavioral level, I'm aware of who I was on a spiritual level and an intuitive level. So, that's the mindset of that. Went on a little rant. But the moon in Albalda will also be in conjunction at 11:49 a.m. The moon will be 7.1 degrees south. And the Albalda star is actually located in the Sagittarius constellation as well. This gives off the energy of harvest, gains, building, as well as traveling. And Neptune and the sun will be in conjunction at 8:17 a.m. Neptune will be 1.3 degrees south. So that's this energy you see right here in this last photograph. You have the subconscious energy sitting there with your experiences. So, Thursday, expect some energy exchanges to occur. That's going to feed your mind. That's going to feed your intuitive space. And you can allow it to push you into a space, of a gullibility, or, you're on top of your square with things. Mercury and Neptune will also be in conjunction at 11 a.m. Mercury will be 0.4 degrees south. Minimal angle will occur at 1:22 p.m. Mercury will be 0.4 degrees south-southeast. And so you have Neptune, the sun, and Mercury hanging around each other. These three planetary placements causing you to, really pay attention to the patterns in your space. Make different decisions, tap into your moral, ethical code, all that fun stuff. Here is what the moon is going to be doing March 15th and 16th. There's a teapot constellation sitting around Sagittarius energy. So the waning crescent moon will be within that teapot. And the teapot is exactly what it is. You pour tea out of it. What is tea? Tea is knowledge. What is Sagittarian zodiac? Of higher knowledge. So in this space, you're really getting that knowledge. And it's cool that it's happening on a Thursday as well, because Thursday is ruled by Obatala, which is knowledge. This is the sky on the 15th with the Norma meteor shower. And this is, as you can see, is around Lupus and underneath the Scorpius constellation. So you'll probably have to look more south. Yeah, look more south. So you look towards the moon and then just make your eyes down to the southeast from the moon and you should be able to catch the meteors. Polar and Castor will also pass overhead. Pollux and Castor are the Gemini twins. Pollux is a bright orange star, while Castor is a binary star. There's actually Castor A and B, and they have a little bit of space in between them at the moment. This will be in midheaven in the areas of the U.S. Gulf, Austin, Houston, North Africa, Tibet, and Shanghai. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's going over there in those spaces politically or socially wise, but you can make some inferences that whatever's going on over there, it'll lead to a space of communication, some type of electronic communication happening because Gemini energy is also in alignment with electronic communications, like the internet and stuff. And like a level of unity, bringing things together. Venus will also be at 30 degrees 0 minutes Aries 9th house at 6:33 p.m. and it will be entering the Taurus zodiac. So, March 15th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, we got a lot of, musical planets going on. Also, Mercury will be entering the Pisces constellation. It'll be at 30 degrees 0 minutes Aquarius at 12:12 p.m. So March 16th, we have Venus entering Taurus zodiac, and we have Mercury entering the Pisces constellation. So we have two planetary shifts there. So if you find yourself getting tired, let yourself feel that. March 17th, we are at the 26% waning crescent moon. Still in that moon of cleansing. We're cleansing intangible things, thought processes, secrets, and trials, and all that stuff. The moon rising at 4:55 a.m. and will be setting at 2:11 p.m. We're in that Capricorn zodiac energy. So in your thought process is really creating discipline and boundaries and stuff like that with the cleansing. Still in that 5th house of your inner child. So we're still doing that energy there. The sunrise at 7:08. It will be setting at 7:08. So on the Vedic chart, March 17th is actually the equinox. On March 17th is when we get equal sunlight to moonlight. What do you call it? With and without sunlight. Whatever. But yes, the equinox is technically March 17th. On the Vedic chart, all right? We'll get into the tropical chart when we get to March 20th. Hold on a second. The moon and Pluto on March 17th will also be in conjunction. This will either be opening or closing a new pattern for you. This will be happening at 8:20 a.m. The moon will be 3.8 degrees south. The minimal angle will occur at 11:40 a.m. The moon will be 3.6 degrees south-southeast, and we'll be able to observe that at 5:30 a.m. with a 4.2 south-southwest separation. So, you know, this is sitting in your root chakra, of course, that Capricorn energy, the experiences of your root chakra. So some experiences you'll be experiencing on the 17th is going to bring transformation to your space. You know, Pluto is a very extreme planet, so be mindful. You know, some of that stuff that might occur on the 17th might be like, why the fuck did this happen to me? But it is pushing you to go into a direction you need to be in. Mercury, which you can see in this diagram right here, Mercury will be at superior conjunction at 6:30 a.m. Mercury will be 1.5 degrees south-southeast of the sun, which is behind the sun. So we're basically dealing with a new moon energy of Mercury. So we won't be able to see it. It's in its new moon phase, the moon of cleansing, the moon of, like celebration, like turning like a whole new overall pattern. It's like a super reset. So all the different conjunctions and parallels and all that stuff, they get like a close. They come to a close. Any type of patterns you have open up with Mercury will come to a close at this time with the superior conjunction. All right. The north pole of the moon is tipped into view. This will occur at 6:38. Oh, what a sad face. Virgo constellation is visible at sunset. The Virgo cluster, we'll end up at the Virgo cluster eventually. I won't mess with it too much. But the Virgo cluster is like one of the most massive clusters that we have. They have about 10 galaxies within that cluster and a black hole. So what starts off from like March 10th to like until like April 15th when the sun enters Aries constellation. So that's another thing we'll get into in a moment. But, you know, in that space and time, it's kind of like the race to count all of the messier objects, which is the galaxies within the Virgo constellation. If you can find at least 10 of them. Right now, Aries is over there hanging out by the Virgo constellation. So we're getting a lot of our nurturing energy coming from that Virgo vibes of servitude, doing for others and analyzing and organizing and stuff. Orion will also be high in the south-southwest sky, and it's going to be going southwest as the weeks advance. And we're going to get into March 18th right now. We start off that day with a 17% waning crescent moon, the moon rising at 5:39 a.m. and setting at 3:30 p.m. Now we're in the Aquarius zodiac energy, so we're being revolutionary with the intuitive energy. We're applying this to our everyday routines of the 6th house, and the 6th house is being ruled by Capricorn energy right now. So everyday routines is gaining that discipline, infrastructure, and stuff like that. You know, so this innovative energy is going to be cleansing some of those everyday routines you have for yourself, everyday structures you have for yourself. All right. The sun is rising at 7:06 a.m. and will be setting at 7:09 p.m. Mercury is at maximum brightness at 3:38 a.m. It is not visible because, again, we're dealing with that new moon energy. The new moon energy in Mercury. The moon and Deneb Al-Jedi will be in conjunction at 11:42 p.m. The moon will be 2.9 degrees south. Deneb al-Jeldi is a star in the Capricorn constellation. So even though we're in the Aquarius zodiac, we're still in the Capricorn constellation. And this is located at the tail of the goat. This gives off the energy of Saturn and Jupiter. So now we have the challenges pushing you to create discipline and order. And while that hardship is happening, the generosity and the wisdom is happening with it. So at this point, your perception should be better. You know, you should have had that talk with your inner child to be able to perceive these challenges, not as traumas, but as challenges, what they are. The sky is going to be dim in Cancer constellation because we talked about the planetary placement of Earth earlier. And it's going to be high in the South Gemini, and Leo East. All right. Orion Sword, which is this beautiful nebula you see over yonder, it'll be descending from the 3-star Orion's belt. So I believe this is Orion's belt right here, and you will see the sword coming down, and we'll be able to see those stars coming out more towards us on the 18th, and this beautiful nebula of gaseous things in the middle, and that's exciting. And then also here's the moon pathway from the 18th to the 19th. You see the moon, like I said, the moon is in descending node, so it appear to be closer and closer as it descends in the sky. And then we have our conjunction with Saturn occurring. March 19th, we start off at a 9% waning crescent moon, the moon rising at 6:15 a.m. It will be setting at 4:49 p.m. We are still in that Aquarius zodiac energy, applying it to the 6th house of our daily routines with that Capricorn vibe. The sun rising at 7:04 a.m. It will be setting at 7:10 p.m. The moon in Deneb al-Jeldi will be at minimal angle at 12:40 a.m. The moon will be 2.8 degrees south-southeast, and no, this will not be visible. Deneb al-Jeldi again is the star that gives off the Saturn and Jupiter energy of giving your lessons and generosity in the challenging form. The best visibility of earth shine will be on the moon right before sunrise, and this is when the sun is rising and it reflects its light off of the earth onto the moon, and that's when the moon starts to look full. It has like this full blue orb, so that's definitely happening on the 19th. The moon will also be the smallest distance to the earth, so it's called a perigee. So it's going to look really close, and that's around 10:50 a.m. The moon and Saturn, we talked about that, will be in conjunction at 11:20 a.m. The moon will be 4.4 degrees south. Minimal angle will occur at 4 p.m. The moon will be 3.7 degrees south-southeast, and this also will not be visible. So we have, that Saturn new moon energy happening as well, coming to a space. We're starting to close up those patterns with that. Saturn, again, coming back to the energy of it being their challenges. These are challenges that we misinterpret as traumas. Challenges bring discipline, call us to bring boundaries, come into check with authority figures, whether there's authority figures outside of us or within us. Aries is reaching its maximum brightness at 7:56 p.m. It'll also be the smallest distance to the Earth at 11:36 p.m. Castor C. So when you get into the Gemini twin stars of Pollux and Castor, we know Pollux is one bright orange star. It's a really big star at that. Castor is actually not a one star. Castor is actually a binary star, and there's a nice space in between those stars. Castor C is actually a red dwarf that circles the orbits of Castor and A and B stars. So we'll actually be able to see that on the 19th. The moon is going to be at perihelion, which means it'll be the closest distance to the sun in orbit at 9:42. And then Mercury will be at 30 degrees 0 minutes Pisces at 12:23 p.m. I love the numbers, before it enters the Aries zodiac. So March 19th, we have Mercury entering the Aries zodiac energy, which is going to be pretty exciting because you have your decision-making mind bringing you to new beginnings, really. And this is also what's happening. And now we're on the 20th. So remember, I told you March 17th in the Vedic chart is when we experience our equinox. So for those of you guys who like to start your fast from equinox to equinox, if you would like to start it, equinox to Aries season, the equinox will begin on March 17th in the Vedic chart. The sun enters Aries constellation on April 15th. So that would be your space of fasting if you were into the Vedic chart. Now, if you're into the tropical chart, March 20th is the day of the spring equinox. And this is because this is more towards the zodiac. Now we're talking about the ecliptic. The March 20th is when the sun crosses over the imaginary line, which is the zodiac ecliptic, which is why this is happening on the 20th and why the zodiac energy is happening on the 17th. I hope I made that make sense. Okay. So we're at a 3% waning crescent moon at the rising. Reminding you guys, when I talk about the percentage of the moon, I'm talking at it from a term of midnight. That's why I say we start the day off. Because the moon is forever moving and phasing. So, at midnight, we're starting the day off at a 3% waning crescent moon. By 12 o'clock in the afternoon, we're at the new moon. You know what I'm saying? So 3% waning crescent moon, the moon rising at 6:45 a.m. and will be setting at 6:06 p.m. We're in the Pisces zodiac energy at this time. So your intuition is tapping into that zodiac vibe. We're now applying this to the 7th house, which is our relationships and stuff, which is cool because we're catching some of the residual energy from that Saturn energy we were just in conjunction with yesterday, causing challenges and disciplines to your one-on-one relationships. So you can either have a falling out with somebody, or it doesn't have to be a falling out if you're in proper communication with that individual, if you know how to communicate with them, healthy, whatever. But the moon is definitely carrying that 7th house energy along, being revolutionary in those relationships and those bonds you create. The sun will be rising at 7:03 a.m. and be setting at 7:11 p.m. The spring equinox is at 5:25 p.m. and that's when the sun will cross the celestial equator. And then day and night have the same length according to the tropical chart. Now the north hemisphere will move from winter into spring, and the southern hemisphere will move from summer into autumn. Also, the sun will be entering the Aries zodiac at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. March 21st, we are now at the new moon. This is the moon of startovers. This is the cleansing moon, where we are literally doing things over. It's a do-over. And it's sitting in that Piscean energy. Tapping into your subconscious energy, allowing it to bring 8th house transformation. And on the tropical chart, that 8th house is ruled over Piscean energy, so you still got that subconscious vibe. Again, this portal is going to open up space for like false prophets too. It doesn't just open up space. Oh, okay, so here goes the Virgo constellation, if you guys want to catch all these messier objects. And that's why they give you the energy of Virgo being overthinking, overanalyzing, because it's literally one of the most dense constellations we have, having so many galaxies and a black hole is a big deal. But yeah, coming back to the moon. So, allowing that 8th house of transformation to come to your intuitive space, and also knowing that this portal doesn't just open up energy for new star seeds to come through, to create righteousness. It also opens up a portal to bring space for new star seeds to come through to create confusion. Energy doesn't know good or bad. Energy just does energy. Okay, our social engineering and indoctrination makes things good or bad. Our opinions and perceptions make things good or bad. Our relationship with the 8th house and the Netter rules is what makes things good or bad. Energy don't give a fuck about that. All right, that's us. So while we're coming through with our starseed energy and spreading what we call love and light and positive energy, there will be false prophets coming in through the same portal. They have the same rights that we do, and they're going to be putting their energy. And that's why it's so important for y'all to not get so easily disheartened. You got to do away with that mentality you had as a child when you tried to show your parents a new trick and they wasn't impressed. It's important for you to stand on your square and stay in the space that you're supposed to be on, because for every energy there's the equal opposite energy. So you have to be in your energetic space, because there's an equal opposite energy out there working. Like, you ever seen a basketball game where it was 3 players versus 5 players? How was everybody standing their post? How are y'all playing defense with everybody having a man? There's two men out there not having no defense on them. They just passing the ball back and forth to each other, shooting. So you gotta stand on your square. That's what I got for that. But that's what that's bringing. Then the sun rises at 7:01 a.m. It will be setting at 7:12 p.m. The moon and Neptune will be in conjunction at 2:16 a.m. The moon will be 3.1 degrees south. Minimal angle will occur at 3:46 a.m. The moon will be 2.9 degrees south southeast. And no, this will not be visible. So we have the moon, we have Mercury, we have Saturn, and now we have Neptune all coming into that quote unquote new moon energy of cleansing and starting over. Okay. Then we have like the sun entering Aries energy of new beginnings. So this whole week, the clocks, I like to look at all the planets moving like the clocks, how the little gears move inside the clocks. All the clocks are resetting back to 0, 0, 0, 0. Cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. We're starting all new patterns and stuff. So during this week leading up to the new moon, and leading up to the equinox, I would say up to March 17th when we deal with the Vedic equinox. Wrap your shit up. It's time to wrap it up. We playing the ending music. It's time to wrap some things up. You know, you can't keep walking around with the same mentalities. You know, you're stagnating your own energy. You got to let certain things go, you know, or you're just going to keep sticking in those. You can't go into new spaces with the same mindset because it's not going to serve you, and it's going to create the same conflicts. You're going to walk into the quote unquote spiritual community with the same combative attitudes you had with the people who trauma bonded with you. And then you're wondering why you're getting the same reaction. Like, oh, this is supposed to be different. I'm in the spiritual community. No, you're going to keep getting the same equal opposite energy into you and get your energy in tune. That's just how it works. But yeah, that's happening. The new moon will occur at 1:24 p.m. The moon will be between the sun and earth, so it will not be visible. Then the moon and Mercury will be in conjunction at 9:35 p.m. The moon will be 2.1 degrees south, minimal angle at 10:45 p.m. The moon will be 2.0 degrees south southeast, and no, that will not be visible. Aries also begins ascending in the eastern sky. It's located in the North Virgo clusters. So, you know, you see that nurturing, mother-like energy, you know, rising. This is also what we have on the 21st. On the 22nd, we start the day off at a 0% waxing crescent moon. So now we're building ourselves back up again, but we're still at 0%. And now we're in the space of new beginnings. So we got to our 0% waning crescent moon with the subconscious, cleaning with the subconscious, renewal, resetting with the subconscious. Then we come into the 0% waxing crescent moon, that moon of building with new. You're building with new blocks. I don't want to see them same old ass, bit up, marked up, scribbled on, chewed on blocks. Okay? Go get you some new blocks to build with. Don't keep using them same Jones over and over again. It's getting ridiculous. But yeah, we're starting with that 0% waxing crescent moon, rising at 7:37 a.m. and setting at 8:33 p.m. Ooh, we get like a really big jump in time here. We are in that Aries zodiac energy. The sun rises at 6:59 a.m. and will be setting at 7:13 a.m. We have the AM visibility of Saturn coming back to us because now it's went through its reset process. So now we can see it again. The moon and Jupiter will have minimal angle. So now even Jupiter is having its reset. The moon and Jupiter will be at minimal angle at 5:45 p.m. The moon will be 0.7 degrees south southeast. A conjunction will occur at 4:57 p.m. The moon will be 0.8 degrees south. We'll be able to observe that at 7:35 p.m. with a 1.1 degree east separation. So that generosity and that wisdom and stuff come into our intuitive spirit. And then we have the evening visibility of the moon as well. So that's the energy that we have to look forward to in this space. I'm very excited. Also, since we're starting, do y'all want me to? Well, I'll read what's going on for the rest of this season. So from February 5th to March 21st, we are in the season of Het Heru. You are fully remoistened by the inner and outer waters. Your body is warming up with the gentle, fruitifying psychic heat of Het Heru. These are your pleasant dreams, and the most important meaning of dreams is in regards to their emotional content. Pleasant, joyful dreams presage success, and turbulent, dark, troubled dreams are portents of difficulties. Understand that they are signs of the gestation of the beliefs you have accepted, all right? To control your dreams and hence what you manifest in your life, Take into mediumistic trance every night what you want to see manifesting into your life. It is important, however, to realize that your personal will must be in harmony with the will of your true self. Otherwise, you will still have bad dreams. Your true self will try to warn you. To successfully interpret your dreams, review the emotions that you habitually accept throughout your life. And your dreams are their gestation or messages from your true self. And that's a lot what you do with dealing with this Piscean energy. Now, as we move out of this Piscean energy, we're moving towards the energy of Mayat, the east, sunrise to 9 a.m. This is springtime. And at this time, your sympathetic system has just begun to put out more than your sympathetic system had just begun to put out more than your parasympathetic, just after arriving at the point of equilibrium, which is the equinox. This is the time in the cycle, your day, when the hot and moist energy is in activity. The body is heating up after being remoistened by the inner and outer waters of life. It is most auspicious for the undertakings requiring Jupiter's energies. The struggle for expanding one's wealth and position, being in that Obatala season, because remind you, the sun just entered Pisces, okay? We're in the Vedic chart, what I'm talking about right now. It is most auspicious for the undertakings requiring Jupiter's energies, the struggle for expanding one's wealth and position. Your optimism, generosity, and panoramic view of things manifest themselves most strongly here. Chemotherapeutics, which is draining of the herbs for the liver, are in harmony with this point because, Obatala was a drunk. And because of the drunkenness story that goes on to show that Obatala rules over your liver. So this is a time of cleansing. For those of you guys who get into the equinox or the Aries tropical to the Aries Vedic chart transition of fasting and stuff, you are in alignment. This is time to, draining and healing of the liver of those cycles of space that have been doing filtering, especially because during winter time, we're usually out of alignment, overeating. You're actually supposed to be fasting during the winter time. At the sunrise and the equinox, Nekbet and Watchet are in equilibrium upon your brow. So that's the energy from Metu Netter. Y'all know I love that book. I love it. And getting into the Native American zodiac energy, on March 21st, we enter the Falcon. This is the Red Hawk tribe, which we're dealing with air energy. This deals with strength, great observers, never miss out on anything, never lose the ability to see things as a whole, quick, active, overwhelmingly energetic, brave, and persevering, and you always have your way. Just be mindful of how you deal with adversity. And that's going to come from you tapping into your childhood and how you dealt with people disagreeing with your thoughts and your position on life and your outlook on things as a child. Are you still carrying that same behavior where you can't deal with people who disagree with you or people who are trying to correct you or whatever? How are you reacting to that energy, whether it's being delivered to you maliciously or not? The only person you're in control of is yourself. And for those individuals who are delivering maliciously, you need to tap into your inner child and find out what it is about yourself that makes you feel like you need to correct people in such a way that's triggering. But yeah, moving on from that. This is more stuff we have going on in the skies. All of our new moon energy. Also showing you the alignment between Venus, the moon, and Jupiter. How we start the month off with Venus and Jupiter being really close. And then Venus makes its way up to Uranus while Jupiter makes its way down to Mercury. That's what we have in store as the months go by. Also, to remind you guys, this will be my last time doing the Planetary Forecast live online. I will be doing, you see how I do the first part where I talk about the chakras, that I'll still be doing online. But if you guys want the full Planetary Forecast, you guys are going to sign up to my subscription service where I do the weekly planetary forecast, as well as give you guys space to communicate about the astrological updates that I do every day, ask questions and stuff. We'll also be doing weekly virtual meetings. It's going to be a great time. And that's my way of creating more nurturing spaces. I like to teach. That's how I nurture people. I feel like knowledge just solves a lot of problems. Also, seeing this portal being open between the moon, the Venus, and Uranus. You know, this straight line portal will be occurring on March 24th. If you want to prepare yourself for that, Uranus being that progressive energy, Venus being that energy of your pentacles and your priorities and self-esteem, and the moon being your intuitive sense. So if you want to get into like some business building or community building or some type of level of self-love type energy, I will do that around the 24th because of that portal that's being opened. Also, this is the pathway of the moon between the 25th and the 24th, with it being around Pleiades, which is that star cluster that, you know, makes you come to that question, like, how am I dealing with my wounds? How am I dealing with my traumas? Because the Pleiades stars are the seven sisters, the wounding sisters, with the Taurian following behind them. So this energy with Uranus and Venus and stuff, it'll probably go towards healing wounds of other people, like business building. If you want to get into some type of social work, some type of activism organization, some type of wellness program, creating your own type of religious cult or something like that, something along those lines. Because we are in the year 7, so it's time for y'all to start forming different things to create with your tribe. Because as we come into the year 7 and we start meeting with our tribal people in the physical, when we enter next year, was next year going to be the year of 8? When we enter the year of 8, you should already be in alignment, in physical alignment, not virtual. You can be in virtual too, but for me, I'm an Earth stellium. I need to be in physical alignment. I'm sick of this virtual shit. Anyway. You know, you get in alignment with your tribe during the year of the 7. And when we enter the year of the 8, it's time for you and your tribe to start tapping into that energy of Maya. First of all, you guys are being the personification of what the 8th sphere looks like, as far as tribal being like classification and compartmentalized and all that fun stuff. So you have that type of energy going on with the 8, but then you also have the balance and the Maya energy going on with the 8 as well. And that's something that you should be doing with your tribe. You did it by yourself already. Now it's time for you to do it with others. All right. This is also more energy. Oh, bringing Mercury into the mix too. So you got Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury and the moon creating that nice portal open with you, your decision-making mind, your oral ethical code and stuff. But like I said, it most likely would be like in the realms of healing and stuff like that. It feels like, seems like. And as we get towards the later of the month, you now have your moon hanging out in the Gemini constellation with Castor and Pollux, and, you know, coming to terms with seeing Castor A, B, and C. Now that I pointed it out to you, maybe you might be able to see that star a little bit better. Yeah, that's what I got for you. And this is seeing the pathway of Mars from the 1st to the 31st. Also being able to see where the shoulder of Orion is, Betelgeuse. This star is like way brighter than the sun. I don't know if y'all don't know that. Aldebaran is too. And this is what our sky dome looks like. So excited. But this is what our sky dome looks like during the month of March. For all of you guys that like to go outside and look through telescopes, I can't wait to get mine. This is where everything is. Where like our river, you know, our nebula clouds, the different main constellations, and Polaris sitting front and center, like always. Always a good time in the cosmos. And also, I really like this diagram because it gives you an idea of, like, you know, where the planets are in relation to self. And like I said, when you see the sun this way, that means that the Earth is this way. So right now, Earth is in Leo vibes. This is our midnight, midheaven sky space, and we are moving this way. And Mars is back here moving this way. And then, you know, you got Venus over here. You got Mercury over here. You know, just showing you the different places. And then you have the outer planets out here. And the outer planets are the ones that are, you know, in addition to Mercury, that are experiencing a lot of their new moon energy this next couple weeks. And here is another view of the night sky for all of my star watchers. So if you guys would like an astrology reading, I do multiple charts. I do the tropical chart, which is how you think, your Vedic chart, how you feel, your nakshatras, which gets more into like the star that you're nearby, and that gets more into your behavior and happenings and places of health that you want to look out for. And then I get into your draconic chart, which is your soul and your past lives. I also do a full panel numerology chart, you know, based off your life path, and also do gematria with your birth name, and if you have any wet marriage names, if you guys went and got a name change, like I have the L at the end of my name, I get into that and all that fun stuff with a numerology panel and a gematria panel. Also get into synastry charts if you want to align charts with your partner, with your children with each other. If you have a business and you want to figure out a business birthday, astrocartography if you want to move to a certain place or vacation to a certain place and you want to get astrology reading for that or a numerology reading for that. I do it all. I do it all. Whether you have a question and want a basic reading based off your question, or if you want some natal information or transit information, I literally do it all. And you can reach out. Also, to remind you guys, if you guys join the Kosmic Koven, the Kosmic Nobodies University, you guys can learn how to do what I do. All the stuff that I just sit here and did with y'all for the past 2.5 hours, you guys can learn how to do it too. I'm teaching courses for you to learn how to do it, and you could do it for your area because I'm in the New Jersey area. And if you're like in Georgia or Florida or Connecticut or Cali, while listening to my planetary forecast is fun and exciting, you know, some of the times and the degrees and stuff like that might be a little different for your area. So it's important for you to learn how to do this stuff so that you can be the broadcaster in your area as well. That's why, like, for different news broadcasting stations, you have local stations, you know, so you could be your local station astrologer. So I'm teaching that. It's going to come in a certification program. And then we have the Kosmic Koven. This is the season finale of me doing the planetary forecast. I appreciate y'all who have been rocking with me for like the past 10 years. And then again for the past 6 years. I've been doing this YouTube page for 6 years. I've been doing astrology for 10. And, you know, just like, you know, our planets are having their new beginnings, it's time for Les Nobodies to have our new beginnings. So we are moving the planetary forecast to a subscription service where I could be more interpersonal with you guys, because I feel overwhelmed and stretched out thin when I'm posting this planetary forecast on multiple platforms and I get a bunch of messages from different people in different spaces. I have to remember to respond to these things and different stuff like that amidst me marketing. And I just want to create a more intimate space where I do this with you guys and you guys have space to respond, comfortability to respond, a chat space where we all could talk about this on a daily basis. I will also like to do virtual meetups and book club, and you guys will be reading books with me, and some of the books on astrology, and it's a great time. But yeah, all of that will be going down in the Kosmic Koven. So if you would like to subscribe to the Kosmic Koven, I would love to have y'all trying to build a nice, you know, safe space for my students. Yeah. So I have like 3 tiers. You can either learn how to do what I do with the Cosmic, you know, college. The university enrollment begins on the 23rd when Pluto enters Aquarius energy, which we will be getting into in the next planetary forecast. So make sure you guys subscribe before next week's planetary forecast so you don't miss that. You can also get in alignment with me in the spiritual support group. The spiritual support group is not for healing, it's for support for the healers. So if you're a healer and you're in the business of healing already and you need a space to support you in the process of you healing others, then the spiritual support group is for you. That's what it's for. Now, if you're in a space where you want to heal and experience healing and edification, then you want to join my Kosmic Koven. Now, if you want to learn how to do what I do, then you want to join the Kosmic Nobodies University. And if you just want access to an astrological update and you don't really want to communicate too much, you're going to join this astrological update group. So those are the different groups. Those are the different tiers that I have. Yeah, the pricing is coming out. I do have the pricing for it already. I just wanted to like, I'm a Virgo stellum, so I'm a perfectionist. I needed to come out a certain kind of way. But it's levels to it, you know, the astrological update being, you know, $11 a month, you know, to get those astrological updates and access to the planetary forecast for $11 a month. But you don't get to communicate in that. It's not a group, it's a channel. So it's just me like giving you the videos. It's not so much you being able to be interpersonal with me. If you guys want to be interpersonal with me and actually engage in dialogue, you want to join the Cosmic Koven. All right. And that's what I had for y'all. Did I have anything else? Oh yeah, make sure y'all RSVP. I'm gonna be in Columbus, Georgia, June 3rd, not January. It's gonna be June 3rd. For those of you guys who have been tapped into Virgo Virgin Talk, this is our season finale of season 2, where we talk about history leaders of today. What makes a history leader? Who are some of our history leaders, and how can we support our history leaders? This is gonna be an all-day event. We have opportunity for performers, for podcasters to come out. And vendors. This is going to be an amazing networking experience. We do have a few podcasters that'll already be present, ready to interview people on the spot. So if you have a business or something going on and you want to get, you know, it out there, you want to network, we also have, like, if you can't physically be present, we have spirit tickets. And what a spirit ticket is, we have swag bags. You can have your item put in the swag bag. We also have, you know, a backdrop that'll have QR codes from different businesses. Your QR code to your business will be on the backdrop for people to scan accordingly. We will have, you know, your marketing materials at the event. You will be there in spirit. So, you know, whether you could be there in physical or not, we still got you covered. And that is the planetary forecast. I really appreciate you guys making time and space. This is a great experience. I'm glad and I'm grateful for everybody that's been kicking with me for the last 6 years. You know, doing the planetary forecast has been such a learning experience for me. As I go back to like the notes that I was writing when I first started doing the planetary forecast versus like the notes that I write now, it's just like the expansion has been real. I'm grateful for everybody that's been, you know, sticking with me, sharing these forecasts, informing other people of what I do, you know, giving me feedback, expanding my mindset on things. You know, this has been great. And I'm very excited for the new beginning with myself and Les Nobodies and these subscription services and learning how to consolidate my energy a little bit more, because I be want to talk to all y'all. It's just a lot. You got to be like mindful that I wake up and like I'm responding to like a good 30-40 different messages from different people having questions about different videos that they watched on different days, and they all want my undivided attention. They all want me to explain things to them from like grade 0 to grade 12 within, you know, a few moments before I can move on to the next message. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So I would rather us be in a group where we all can support each other and we all can learn and grow together. You know, just making it easier for myself and what it is that I'm trying to do. And I really like teaching and stuff. So yeah, I will definitely be in touch. That's all I got for y'all. Peace, peace.